So there's actually a couple things surprisingly that I want to talk about, and unsurprisingly, they're both negative for Magic. Got some more updates about Lorcana and Stefan. Thank you very much. One of our awesome
Thank you very much, Cosmic Seeds.
members.
Yep, of course, for showing out. And thank
Um,
you to all of our members. We've started building up a bit of a community here, and I want to give a big shout out to everybody that's able to help this channel grow a bit more. People like Time Capsule, Richie Dubs, of course, we got Solar God, Cosmic Seeds, as you saw here premiering in the video, and Four Keeps Gaming. We've got some channel subscribers and members that are really helping us bring a better quality. As you can see by the moving GIFs and stuff in the background, it's people like you that are helping us bring this to a better quality. So thank you all very much out there. And thank you, Bob, for joining me for some cardboard conversations this evening.
Oh, and thank you as well. And thanks to everybody that's here and everybody that's going to be watching after the show. Hopefully we'll bring some I don't know about different perspectives, but at least our perspectives. And you know us if you're watching, and if you don't know us, we're about as straight shooting as a channel as I know out there. That there's no sponsorship, want a sponsorship that's pushing us in a direction that makes us say things we don't want to say, and I don't think we would do that anyways. It would be tough to get a sponsor because,
and that's exactly it. The only people that we're actually reaching out to actively, as far as myself and I think Matt as well, is makeplayingcards.com. That's right. We are looking to proxy more and more, and that's one of the things that I think is going to be one of the items affected in this new play booster area. When we go into the new era of having more rares and supposedly mythics in our regular play boxes, I think that there's a really
You're going to poke me already. You're going to trigger me, Pat.
Hey, let's dive right into it. Honestly, it's a hot button topic, and I know we've got a lot to talk about. So we might as well just dive right in, right?
Well, then let me ask, because behind the scenes this week, just for the audience's edification, two things. Number one, we'll get there with the Fallout window dressing on some Magic cards. With the announcement of play boosters, and surprise out there. I'm not even going to keep you in suspense. I don't particularly care about Fallout. It doesn't matter to me, and I know it's going to tickle some people's tail feathers, but there's nothing new. It's not anything that's addressing the real problems. Now, the play boosters, it's like a poopy lollipop, right? It's like a ketchup lollipop. It is a lollipop, but it's not really the flavor I think anybody's going to enjoy much. And the reason I say that is, yes, it is consolidating, at least to some minor extent, SKUs, and they got rid of already the Jumpstart SKUs. And does that mean that we're no longer going to see what were those other really terrible ones that Jumpstart replaced? The
theme boosters,
right? So I think those are gone, but
right, those guys
are just going to be like one-offs. They're going to start throwing in there as just confusing SKUs for just like random ass products.
Well, so that's part of my worry, is that by this supposed reduction in different available products, that we'll see a different presentation of other available products, as we saw with Lord of the Rings, with this special collector's edition coming out towards the end of the year.
Not just a special collector's edition. You're forgetting about, what are they calling those? The panoramic scene things,
right? Yeah, I know.
See, I don't even know what the fuck the SKU is. Oh, there we are. We're like 4 minutes in, demonetized. But I don't even know what those SKUs are called.
Hey, we beat 30 seconds. So that's the biggest thing, is that, the confusion in the product line is, number one of the largest issues that we have with Magic the Gathering purchasing. And I'll be completely honest, Bob. I know it's kind of against the norm here. I like this move with Magic the Gathering, with what they've done with the merging of both play,
I
with the
don't.
play boosters,
I've
with the
always
merging
hated
of
set
draft and
boosters.
set.
I have never made that unclear in any fashion. And to choose that direction as a right now
He
move to get
stands
rid
on
of a
his own.
30-year-old product that has worked for 30 years, right? That's a right now move. That's a very Timmy move. And that's a what they said they sampled 2,000 people. That's what you're going to base this off of? I don't put anything on my shelf long term except for draft boosters for that explicit purpose of, hey, this is how I'm going to draft. Now I understand they said they're going to adjust it so that you can draft with them, but I think they're going to be I think it's going to be overall a bad move for drafting. You're going to upset the balance of the draft environment. I understand Matt likes it. He likes that high-powered turn one win. But the reason most people like a cube, like draft, is for the dynamic nature of it, so that it's not so,
Hmm.
turn one,
So
turn two type
I've
win.
got a rebuttal both against you and Cosmic Seat on this, saying that it's a Timmy short-sighted move.
It is.
I personally feel that with this merging, this boosting, realistically, that's what it is. It's an increase in both price and value in the sealed environment,
No,
whether it
you
be
already had SKUs that had increased value and price above the draft boosters, but now you've cut off the draft boosters, the
but see
lower
that
cost actual
the
play
problem with
option.
that is with that increased value, you didn't have a play experience with your
I
set.
agree, and I think that you're fucking up the play experience with this one.
I don't know. I think like we said a lot behind the scenes, and to people that aren't channel members, you're not really aware of the conversations we have. We share a little bit of that behind the scenes with our channel members. One of the things we talked about was that with this increase in rares and mythics in your play boosters, what is normally your draft or set environment, when you're playing sealed, you're going to have a very increased floor. All of this across the level, you're going to have a lot more rares and mythics that are going to increase the play field. You're going to have less than common. It's actually with the changes here in every set going forward from Murders at Karlov Manor, there will be more uncommons than commons in every set, which is just a surprising change. And as far as sealed, your draft and your limited environment across the board, that's going to be a
Well,
huge shift.
and here's what I'm going to say about that. When they're designing the sets, I believe I've heard in the past, and don't pin my feet to the floor, but they assign point values to cards as to what makes them common, uncommon, rare, mythic, and obviously they don't stick to it because some commons and uncommons are way more powerful than the rares or end up being so. But they have a formula that they assign point values to different attributes of cards. And as the typical scale goes, the mythics are typically more powerful than a rare. A rare is typically more powerful than an uncommon, and an uncommon is typically more powerful than a common. And they've already had power creep problems, and this is just going to accelerate that even more, right? So you're taking what they've been trying to get past in the standard environment with the old formula with regular draft packs, and you're just gonna say, fine, we're just gonna forget about it, and just to push cards, just to push more rares, which, by the way, diluting more rares and mythics into the market will just make those even less valuable. And I don't care if you increase the price of the box. There's only so much that people want to pay for a rare or a mythic, period.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going to end up happening is it's going to just, it's going to appeal to the same people. The people that love this move, that like more rares and mythics in their packs, it's the pack crackers, right? It's the ones that just want to
Oh,
open
absolutely.
value,
And
right? That's
I
why I
think
say it's a Timmy move. That's what you're
that's the big
appealing to,
point of it
and
is
that
that
will dissipate quickly. What I'm saying is that's like smoke. So what you'll do when you put more rares and mythics into the market in general, you'll make all of them worth less. The tide is rising, right? And it's just going to raise all ships, except for the fact that it's in the opposite direction, where it's just going to make all that value dilute.
Absolutely.
Basically, the
Well,
tide's lowering.
that was part of the conversation that we had, was that the amount of bulk rares is absolutely going to increase with
And
the
mythics. Don't
gifting
take
of.
mythics out of that.
Well,
Mythics
yeah,
once
I
upon a
mean,
time used to be actually, TCG dude.
hey, what up?
You know, used to be actually mythic. What were hard to
Honestly, I
get.
got
They
to
weren't.
talk to this guy last Thursday. Big ups to TCG, dude. I really love the conversations we had. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really love the communication we've had.
They've already diluted it, and people don't really grasp that much with like the set boosters with more rares and mythics available in the last 3
Oh
years
yeah.
with the
Oh yeah.
collector
I mean,
boosters putting more rares and mythics
it's tough.
into the market.
It's tough. I mean, I just set out a communication to my local pod, right? Veterans Day is coming up. We all get that off of work, right? So we're gonna have a draft experience. It's gonna be Dominator Remastered because it's cheap as shit. And also it's a fun play experience. But with that, when we open all of those rares that are just worthless, they're fun. It's a good play experience. But on the flip side of that, there's no secondary market to it. There's no turnaround. We have to put it into our repertoire. We have to combine it into our binders or put it into a deck. Outside of that, there's barely any value out of these cards, which is terribly across all of Magic the Gathering currently. The issue is that there's no valuable secondary market. And I think personally that this is a move in the right direction, but solely a stopgap measure to get there. I don't
It's
think this was something that
it's
they
shiny
planned on
foil.
doing.
It's just, hey, what can we do? I think honestly, a lot of people are missing. It's like, oh, hey, look, we're doing something, right? But you got to look at what that something is that they're doing. First of all, the fact that they are all right. So two things. Let me ask: if you could get the
Cosmic. Yeah, and honestly,
if you could get the Fortnite at the current retail, right?
yeah.
Or you could get Lorcana Rise of the Floodborn at retail price right now. Which one would you rather snatch up?
Oh, fuck you, Bob. You know what the question is. We're 12, 13 minutes in. I'm going to cuss all I want. Yeah,
Okay.
I will. The last time I bought Lorcana, I bought literally everything they had.
Okay. But now, listen to what I'm saying
Yeah,
here, and
he's
I really
cosmic.
want you to
He
process.
knows what it is. Yeah,
I want you to process
pays
this.
the 99 cents a month. But this guy knows what the feel is, whether it's
Oh,
Magic, whether it's,
okay.
buying Pokemon or buying One Piece. This guy knows the right move. Buying
I,
Lorcana,
I know
whether
I'm
it's,
wordy here, but I want you to really think about this.
yeah,
Lorcana, you cannot. I have not been able to pre-order nothing like of the Rise of the Floodborn, the second set.
nothing
I can't,
reputable.
and
Yeah,
it's coming out.
yeah,
It's coming out in 3 weeks or 4
yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
It's on the 17th of
Oh,
November.
I,
It's
I, I
releasing.
can't buy the
Okay.
shit that came out months
Okay.
ago.
Okay. Now hold on a
Yeah,
second. You're already able to pre-order at what we suspect is below retail for Fortnite.
yeah.
That feels very desperate for me that they're trying
Mhm.
really hard to juice the numbers for the fourth quarter. It's like they keep pushing that can, kicking that can a little farther down the road each time. It's going to be like they're a year out. We're going to be back to like the secret layers where you order it and get it a year later,
Oh, yeah.
right? And that's
And
where we're
I
at.
think
They're borrowing money from the buyers now
to
for
get
products that are
further
6
along.
months in the
Yeah.
future, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
what
and I
are their
think
numbers going to look like 6 months in the future? This is a
so.
problem that they're creating for themselves.
A reflection of that. I was recently watching Hometown TCG, right? And he was looking over at the new Fallout decks. And he saw that you could not buy the collector decks, that they were currently unavailable. Well, I already had 2 pre-ordered through Amazon. And I think that this is part of that problem, is what you want, you're not available to actually purchase. And the products that have already gone by the wayside are more than available. There's
Oh yeah,
definitely been an issue with how WotC produces their product. And I hope that
you're
this
right, TCG dude.
streamlining I hope that this
It's
streamlining
leveraging.
is
It's
part of
buying on credit is what they're doing. Right? They're buying on credit, and the credit is our bank accounts. It's an interest-free
Oh, yeah.
loan from the buyers to release this 6-8 months in the future. Doesn't it strike you as a bit odd? I mean, at what point for the long timers? At what point in the past were you able to pre-order anything 6 months in advance? That was never a thing in the past. You know,
Well,
you generally had to wait until they got allocation,
I
and then
gotta say,
you could
the
pre-order.
way that Wizards of the Coast is selling their product, the way that they produce it and the way that they give it out to customers, the way that they prevail it is absolutely different. And it's hard. I was watching a Kitchen Table, right? And he was talking with Louis, someone who's been in the game 30 years, right? You know, and
Yeah, I
it's
don't know how much I like either their takes on things though, and I don't think
one
I'd
of
be
the
following
things.
either one of their advice. I like I wouldn't say I love Louis. But Josh, I like very much, and I get it, and I don't want to pop his, I don't want to, piss on his Cheerios, but he's very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about the
Oh,
TCG world.
absolutely. 100%.
Um, and
100%. 100%.
great that there are people out there, and I'm not just being particularly poopy about things. I will just call it like I see it, and I don't, if it's negative, I'm going to say, hey, look, that's a poopy flavored lollipop there. I don't know if I would eat that. And Louis, I hate to say it, but Louis does have skin in the game.
Oh,
So does
the pair
George.
of them, both
Um,
Louis and George. And so that's, honestly, I thought this was going to be a podcast by itself when we had nothing to talk about. But I think the biggest sourpuss in the game is probably Rudy, carrying the large bags that he has and seeing the decline of the game as we all have.
I would
That
say Umu.
having
What's his name? Didn't he used to be MTG Lion, the Asian dude that always likes to crap on Rudy? I mean, a lot of what he says isn't wrong, but wow, that guy, talk about vitriol and bitter. Woo! That guy, he
Well, I
can't he
mean,
can't pass an opportunity
there
to
is
shit on
something to
Rudy.
be said about having a sour attitude on people that have made a dime on TCGs. But the flip side of that, 100%, is people left with bags. One of the biggest videos that Rudy calls back to is my bathroom full of Pokemon cards. And that's only because he bought into something that wasn't doing well. And as we all look into the recent
Yeah, but
history of
that's just fluke.
TCG,
A blind squirrel finds nuts too. That whole thing, it wasn't like he had the foresight to say, oh, this is definitely going to be worth something. And there's no way he could have predicted the pop. If he did, he would have sold all of his stuff before it crashed back down. And I won't say that Rudy, who put that Cosme, I'm not going to say that Rudy's lost millions this year, because you only lose when you go to sell, just like the stock market. Do I think
yeah,
some of this will
right.
turn? Yes, in a slow fashion. Even some of the Magic products, I think in the future, some of the things that aren't as widely available, which we're going to have to figure out which SKUs of which products were like overprinted to, I think MH2 is going to be that poster child in the future. Great set
Oh,
though,
sweet
fortunately.
God,
But
yes.
oh my God, that what,
Yeah.
like 11 plus print runs? Holy buckets. That's going to take beyond my lifetime to recover. Oh
The
well.
only
So
thing more
I don't mind
available
opening
than
those.
Modern Horizons 2 is my recent girlfriend.
Yeah, wow. And so I mean, I want to kind of loop it back in and rein it back into the play boosters, because we could just go on and on and on about the different content creators. I'll say this about it when you're talking about like Kitchen Table, people that have skin in the game, be aware. Ask yourself, even for content creators like us, you should be questioning yourselves out there. Both you, TCG dude, and Cosmic saying, what skin do they have in the game? What is their skin in the game? And try to figure it out. What is their angle, right? And sometimes it's not even clear to us. I don't think we have any nefarious angles. I like to just blather on and have a platform to voice my unsolicited opinion about cardboard out there. That's my angle. If you ask, I'll tell you, and I'll tell you behind the scenes as well. But when you see people like MTG Lion, when you see people like Rudy, when you see people like Moxman, when you see people that have skin in the game, like would you what is Soul Devi Excavations at now? I stayed away from that right from the start. I was like, ooh,
now you're picking the scab. So I gotta say, I was talking about Moxman the other day with long hair, right? I was like, man, I haven't talked to this guy in a while. I hope he's doing well. What's going on?
I like him as a person. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Well, so the flip side of that is like you as a person, but what are you doing for content creation? You know, in the sphere that I know people in this area, right? You know, so I was talking to TJ about it, and I was like, man, I haven't talked to Moxman in a while. You know, we text every ways, but I haven't seen anything that he's put out, mostly because I don't give a fuck about the reserve list whatsoever. And that's
let's clarify that, because Moxman's real niche wasn't just the reserve list. It was what Dual Brain calls the penny stocks. You know, what can he entice
100%.
to get more
Some
viewers?
people lost $20 per Soul Dev.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not the only thing. I mean, we could go on and on with like the Thrall champions and all the the low end fleecing stuff. And I get what he was trying to do, and that's fine. But and not Moxman, if you're watching this, I love you, but I think it's pretty obvious to everybody that Moxman, I don't want to say he doesn't care about the community, but his angle is to get as many viewers to make money as possible, right? That is his purpose. Would we like to have more viewership, Pat? Would we like to have more subscribers?
Yeah.
I would. I would like to have them, but not at the expense.
100%, you know, transparent. Between myself, Bob, and Matt, Bob doesn't give a fuck about our numbers.
I
watch
don't.
all those like
well, I do
optimization stuff. Yeah,
don't get me wrong.
I would love to have more people watching our stuff, and that's just because the conversations I have with you and Matt, I would love to put another person in. When we get people like Cosmic, when we get people like Super Fast Tortoise chiming in, I absolutely love the back and forth. So to me, that's what more subscribers is that I get to have more conversations with better quality people. And when I was at 500 subs, okay, cool, whatever. There's 2, 3, 4 people I get to talk with. Nowadays, man, all these
I love Saturday.
The introductions of these other opinions helps me form my own ideas in a little bit of a better opinion. And oh, dude, Cosmic, thank you very much. So, like we said before, we do a couple of videos every once in a while, about once a month, to our members. And Cosmic just joined up for another 3 months. So that's right. We're making another video tomorrow, so you can get that a little bit early. I don't want to tease you too much, but rhymes with Schmorkana Schmack opening.
What I want to harken back to, and this is, kind of tying back what I'm talking about of, looking at the angle that people are working, or what their motivating factors are. So when I asked, do you want more subscribers? Sure. So do I. I don't want it at the expense of the content that we're actually doing. I don't want to mold what I'm doing in the community, our message, I don't want to call it a shtick, because I like it being shtickless. Our shtick is being shtickless, right? We don't do a bunch of blooper reels and giveaways and trying different things.
Forte. I like that. It sounds so fucking fancy too.
I don't.
Our strength is not giving away stuff. It's not bloating ourselves with freebies and one-offs. No, the thing you subscribe to us, if you want to give us an extra 99 cents per month, the thing you get is realistic conversations of people that have a little bit extra to spend on hobbies. I mean, every month, I'm probably looking to spend between 150 and 250 a month on hobbies, whether it be video games or trading card games. And that's very reasonable. I would love to give to people my opinion on what I'm spending my money on. Things that look good or look bad, whether it's secret layers, play boosters, collector packs. There's a lot of different things that everyone can spend their money on. And I'd like to let y'all know out there what I'm wasting my hard earned dollars on when it comes to TCGs.
Well, and I'm watching what Stefan's saying, and I love meeting all of you at Vegas, and I would like to do more of that. Only not so much just Magic, right? I really enjoyed very much going to Gen Con, and I'm going to try to make it a more pleasurable experience with my health woes. Working on that, and I would like to possibly use that as our venue. I think that Matt was in agreement that he enjoyed Gen Con better even than Magic 30 as a venue. Like we didn't get to meet up with as many um people that we know in our circle, and we'd like to do that again. So I don't know if we'll be doing it next year, but certainly that's something that I'd be looking at much more seriously than going to another Magic convention, unless it was like in Cleveland. So maybe Gen Con becomes more of a meeting point for us, especially as we're broadening out into different cardboard venues. But like I said, that's our take on it.
I'll be
Like what our
100%
angle is.
honest. I can only imagine an all-you-can-eat Brazilian steak buffet with
Oh, dude,
everyone down here in the comment section. Like, okay, honestly, as much as I
that might be a
hate
little pricey though.
Prime
Honestly,
406, like, I mean, Prime, worst of the worst, honestly, degradation of human beings. I'd love to see how much steak he could eat. And,
dude, I would
taking
love
out
to have everybody go there, but I don't want to put them on the hook because that's a pricey little venture. They're going to a
yeah,
Brazilian
it's
steakhouse.
expensive, but every once in a while I can buy for my friends,
Yeah,
situation
we'll
like
see.
that.
Maybe we could do some like if we start making enough on the channel, we could do like a subscriber sort of
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
thing there. At any rate, I want like we're drifting so far off topic here about the play boosters and some of the current environment. Listening to like you're talking about with hometown TCG, where I'm sorry, but I think that Louis and George have skin in the game. Rudy has skin in the game.
100%.
Moxman even has skin in the game, even though he's not a store. He does have an investment. He says he buys every set, so I have no idea how much sealed he actually has. Um, but I know that he buys as specifically an investment and keeps spreadsheets. That's how you know when somebody is truly investing in
Oh, right.
Magic is that
The amount
they
of time
actually
they
sell
spend on
things
something.
and they
Yeah.
track it and chart it. So he does also have skin in the game. Plus, he has skin in the game growing his channel. And I believe, honestly, he will do whatever his numbers push him in the direction to do. Right? Whatever's popular at that time that gets him the best viewership, that's what he's going to do. So always keep that in mind when you're watching the viewers out there. Yo, time capsule. Look, we got the whole gang here already. So the play boosters, let's get into it. Why I think it's bad. You can cover the why you think it's good cop, bad cop. Why specifically are you excited about the play boosters?
So I've got to say, it's a slimming down of product line
Fair.
between both the regular draft and set booster. We're getting a product that's more similar to the set booster, which by and by is the purchaser's preferable product. That's right, you're getting the double P's. And I think with that, we are certainly going to see an uptick in the power levels of both your draft and other sealed environments. I think this is a positive move forward because we are both getting.
Can I stop you there and ask you what do you mean by that uptick? You mean more attendance?
I think that it'll be more. Yes, I think that we will get more attendance, mostly because we'll have a higher rare and mythic drop rate per pre-release event.
So
So with
here's what I'm
yeah,
going to say though. That will make it an unsustainable increase. I agree. I think that the Timmies will come out in droves and buy these things at first. But remember, we're going from basically just a year ago, $100 per draft box to now $150 for these new draft boosters in a sealed environment, because that's what we're talking about here. You're talking
yeah.
about a 50% increase. And if you're talking about where you used to pay $30 to go play, now you're talking $45. So I think you'll have that initial rush, that dopamine fix of, ooh, I get more worthless rares and mythics because they're going to be watered down and diluted.
Yeah,
And you're
absolutely.
going to pay more for that experience. So I think that ultimately, it's going to hurt people's pocketbooks. And I think it'll have an initial wave, and then it'll be very Watsified, and it'll drop hard, and they'll do something else to try to. This is
So
all shenanigans
to
and
address
trickery to try to.
cosmic seeds here, will uncommons and commons be worth more than mythics and rares in play boosters? So there was a switch in how often you'll get commons and uncommons. Commons will actually become less common than uncommons. You'll get them in a different deviation in each set. There will be less commons than uncommons. And now with this difference with play boosters, you'll see less art cards, less tokens, and surprisingly, less of the advertisement cards in MTG for MTG. So
No, as I understand that you're going to have the averts and the tokens still in there.
they'll be in it, but it's in the same slot. So whether or not you get a token, an art card, or an
Yeah, the
advertisement,
stupid
those will
art
be all in
cards,
the same slot.
stupid art cards. But look, they're going to have the list in there, and the list is going to suck just as bad. They've broken down the numbers, and
Mhm.
now you're going to have to contend with that stupid list slot in every sealed environment and come up with the weird rules. Okay, it's legal in the tournament that you drafted it in, but it's not legal after that for standard play, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just, ugh, ugh.
I mean, it's going to be interesting for sure, as Cosmic points out here.
I'm
As we
actually
go
fine with the
forward.
list slot. And you know where I think the list slot should be?
Mm.
In the token slot in the collector boosters. And it's either going to be a token or one in every 4 packs. You get a list slot, cut it down to actually valuable reprints that they want to get out there in a meaningful way.
Well,
Push
so
that product even more, but don't
that
put
was
it in the
one of the
damn
things
draft
I wanted to
boosters.
hit on. What's your opinion?
Mm.
With the play boosters going forward, they're going down from approximately 300 down to 40 cards for the list. And because it's the combination of play, the play boosters are both your draft and set. So you'll see the list more often pulled just by and by. Do you think that the reduction of cards will be good for the draft or general audience?
Look, it's just a way for them to push a more expensive product, right? They're going to put basically the list slot is reprints, right? So it's going to be in every single set. Now it's going to be in your most generic booster pack overall. So I think you're going to end up seeing more. Love you too, Sherry Vegas. And I think that it's really going to put further downward pressure on devaluing what were once valuable cards. Look, they just have this addiction to reprinting cards, and this is just a wolf in sheep's clothing of how they're going to do it and charge you more for the pleasure of doing it to you. And I think it's I
So
agree
that
that
was
they
my
needed to
big
trim down the
worry.
SKUs, but I always thought that the SKU confusion, and by the way, I'm going to suspect that if they could figure out a way to make a product that was super profitable, they wouldn't trim down the SKUs and wouldn't give a shit. They're
Right.
just
Yeah.
trying to extract as much money as they can from a sinking ship. Instead
Well,
of plugging the holes, instead of bailing it out, they're just pushing more pressure on it and hurry up. Let's try to get as much out of this as possible rather than fixing the actual problems.
well, so that's one of my thoughts on this is that as far as fixing problems go, I feel as though this is a decent, if not more than fair, stopgap measure to solve a lot of the problems that
No,
we put forth.
it solves one problem and only in a minor degree between the set and draft packs. Honestly, most people that buy Magic, they're not confused at all about set and draft boosters. I have never once mistakenly bought a set box instead of a
Yeah.
draft box.
Yeah.
I have never once mistakenly opened a set booster instead of a
Right.
draft booster. Like that's just not they're putting that out there as like a big thing. It does help stores a little bit, but if you do the same behavior of the Amazon dumps of constantly draining the value of raising the prices and selling it cheaper elsewhere, there are so many other problems that are real problems that on the list of problems, the number of SKUs, which they're really only reducing one, and then in my opinion, it's the draft booster because this, for all intents and purposes, is just a tweaked set booster, right? The one that I disliked the most and thought you could cut as far as a collector, a player, the one that could afford to be cut the most was a set booster. The only people that I appeal to are the people that are scratching off lottery tickets trying to get more hits out of fewer dollars, and the
Which
price is going up.
unfortunately is too large of a population of the Magic the Gathering community. I mean, realistically, there's a large amount of people that are buying packs that just want that just want the
Okay,
lottery
and they're
chance.
doing the
And
reason they're doing that
Twiddler,
is because
I'd love if you could speak to that. Like, do you get the general feel from your audience of people that are buying single entries into the MTG lottery? Do you think that the general audience is going to be excited for this? I know as a buyer, I'm personally very in the air about this. One of the few things I'm sure about as far as MTG purchases is going to be Fallout. I know I'm buying all of the decks and 2 collector boxes. That's one of the few things I'm very sure of. And it's interesting to see that reduction in product line for Universes Beyond, which I think will be more and more common, the Universes Beyond in general. But this reduction in product line across the board with the amount of different sets that they're putting out, I would like to see this trend going forward is that we get different products, different sets with fewer products in each one. When we did Lord of the Rings, it would have been preferable to me to have one release. This holiday release of it with secondary collectors, special art editions doesn't do anything for me. I don't think it drives the play experience or collectability further. For
so
me,
on that
oh,
point, Pat,
go ahead.
is this move going to entice you personally to buy more Magic product at $150 a box? Because it's not pushing me at all. If anything, it makes me go, nope, even less. Now I
You
don't
know,
even want to
I
hold.
gotta
I
say,
don't even want to
for
hold these in
me,
the future because I don't want the play
the
experience
first
messed up
entry
by
into
these.
it, I'll probably buy 3, maybe 4 boxes of the first play boosters and keep 2 of them sealed, 2 of them for use. I would like to have the experience with my close friends, play it with my pod. I I honestly think, Bob, that they're gonna fuck it up. It just as
I think
general
this
with
is
Magic
fucking
the
it
Gathering.
up.
Well,
I think
and
this is
not just the
like,
idea, but the specific release. I
oh,
think
sure.
that there will be like a weird amount of rares. There's going to be something that they put into this product incorrectly as far as their print line goes.
Yeah.
I
I,
and I would like to have 2 boxes just to open, to play with friends, to have the fun of a new, more powerful draft experience. And I do get that that's kind of shallow, but on the same side, I barely ever get to go and visit with my friends to have that experience. And when we do get together, I'd like it to be a more enthusiastic time. Maybe with more rares, with a couple of extra mythics per experience, we get to have that more juicy, enthralling time together.
I
I
don't
don't
think so.
know. I think that this might be a good move for sealed environments.
Arbitrage will make that less exciting. Meaning, when you put more of it in there, just like with Savala, right? I want to talk about a couple things that I watched this week. Number one, I watched. I don't remember what her name is, but she opened a. I mean, it wasn't the best video because she didn't have like prices up there and didn't do a tally at the end of it. She bought a I don't know which jumpstart it was. I want to say maybe Brothers War jumpstart box. It was either Dominator United or Jumpstart, and Dominator United or Brothers War. I'm pretty sure it was one of those two for $12. And the box opening did not, like, the card values did not even hit the $12 box price that she paid for it. And very much like that, I don't know if you watched the Matt Caster where he bought a Commander Masters, which is what, 3 months old, collector box, which was what, released at around $300. Does somebody remember? It was 250 to $300 is what they wanted for the collector boxes, the 4-pack collector boxes for Commander Masters. And he got it for $150. And the value from what he just opened it, go watch the video. Should I spoil it? Do you want me to spoil it?
Oh, go right ahead. Yeah.
Okay. It was $74 is what he got out of it. And what's going to happen is the same thing will happen with these play boosters. And you're going to have this, like, I've been saying it for a long time. You're going to have far fewer people. There'll be something that gets a hit. It'll probably be in the list slot or something with that stupid. That's what people will put the value on is if we can get to that section in here where they talk about the list slot, because that's what it's really going to be. The gambling Timmies are going to be looking for that 1.6% chance or whatever it is, 1.56% right there. You just scroll past it. It's all the percentages up, right? Where you get this, oh, you already passed it again. It's down. There you go, right there. The special guest card is what I'm going to guess that they're going to put the real value in. And what we'll see is an iteration. If that's not enough, they're just pushing this. They'll put serialized. That's where the serialized cards will be in that 1.56% time. And that's of the list cards, right? Which are 1 in 8 packs, I think they said. So at any rate, that's where they're going to try to push the value. And that means that like 1 out of, I don't know, 800 packs is going to have a really juicy hit. And the other 800 packs, well, most of them are going to be break even or break even or less, is where 85 to 90% of those packs are going to go, is break even or less at current EV. And that's going to go down because we all know that right now it's just a race as fast as you can get your cards onto TCG Player, right? And even then it's a loser's game. So I think that's what they're
Certainly be
trying to do,
mimicked
and I
for
think it's going to
most
run out of money
TCGs.
fast.
I mean, with my recent Lorcana openings, I can certainly say that opening and selling as quick as I could was definitely preferable to holding on to cards. I mean,
But that's the speculator's market, and I agree. And I've never said Lorcana. I never said any of this is really great investment. But I do feel that long term, because people just are not good at keeping shit sealed, is still where it's going to be at. Like that is just a sealed product is a sealed product. And at some point in the future, some asshole like me will want $1,000 box of sealed Ice Age, no matter how bad the product is. So at some point in the future, sealed is truly where it's going to be at. And I think that this move really mucks with that. Like I changing, like you would not want to mix these play boosters in with any of the other draft products that have come before it.
I'll agree with you there, but long
So it's a
term,
dividing line in the sand that I just don't want to play with because the cost, the price point is just too high for entry for something that I just want it at least at a minimum to hold value.
I mean, it's tough because long term, realistically, I don't think it's a wise idea anymore to hold on to sealed MTG product. I
I mean,
I think
eventually it'll be okay, but it won't outpace regular investing.
well,
It won't get the
even
5 to 8% return that your
even
cash will,
long
where
term,
you can buy more product in the future with that.
even long term though, like I don't know if
Well, you
any.
could Cosmic, but it'll be weird, right? It'll be a very weird, lopsided, imbalanced sort of draft, right? So it kind of really messes with the whole dynamic, which is what I was saying before. Oh boy, thanks a lot. You really mucked with the dynamic that you had for 30 years that worked with draft boosters. Good job.
Well,
Mm.
it's that what kind of worked, and I heard this thought in a separate situation. Draft boosters have been messed with a bunch of times over the years. And I think one of the biggest
How
points of
so?
that is introduction of mythics. So when
Mm-hmm.
you had your regular draft booster, there were rares that were the most important cards. And then MTG introduced mythics, which every once in a while were really the most important cards. And with that, we saw a reprinting every set practically with cards that were staples, whether it be Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, your um basic elf cards that kind of just help produce your tribe further. I think there were a lot of things over the years that changed draft boosters. And this is just another seemingly large change that, in all realism, isn't that big of a change to your draft mechanic. The biggest thing to me is that there will be more bulk rares that are your uncommons of higher power in your draft environments. I don't think this is going to be the biggest change to your actual sealed events.
Um, First off, when you, I mean, to address that point with like the mythics, by that point, the mythics, they've always had like a lopsided, well, for a long time, they've had a lopsided printing of the really valuable rares. They just finally put a rarity onto it. They have those, what they call hidden rares. That's been in the Magic community for uh, a long time.
Yeah.
And all they did was just put the rarity actually on it. I don't think it actually messed with the dynamics of the draft itself. There's always been that busted Eldrazi minus the mythics, but you understand what I'm saying. That there's always been that Gaia's Cradle, that hatred, and they were very rare. They were not in the sets as frequently as the other rares. That's a reason that I have like you know eight uh um 8 or 10 copies of Rune of Protection lands from Urza Saga, yet I only have 2 Gilded Drakes, right? And I opened just as many packs. And it's the same thing with the Gaia's Cradle. It was the same thing with Sarah Sanctum. It was the same thing with all the really juicy rares. You just didn't get as many as you got of the trash rares. So all they really did at that point was just label those juicy rares as mythic. So I don't think that changed it. And if I'm not mistaken, you either got a rare or a mythic in that slot, not a rare and then, you could get a land or a mythic, right? That's not how that worked. So I don't think that it changed that that much when the Mythics came along. Now, as far as reprints, I'm not really sure what you're referring to when you're talking about Arcane Signet and Soul Ring. Those were not really reprints in the traditional sense in a draft booster. How many cards are in these draft boosters? I thought I heard them say there's like 14, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think it's 15.
Are we sure? Because there was like it said, there were not enough. The set booster has 12 playable cards. Draft booster is 15. We're going to make the player booster limited. Let's total up the number of. We had to up the total number of playable cards in the booster. We combined the art card and token card into one slot and added 2 playable cards. No, so it is just 14 cards.
What?
Right.
Well, that sounds similar.
And they're even admitting right there in the issue number 1 that it's not a real melding of draft and set. They basically upshifted set boxes. How do we make people? They've been trying to push these set boxes for a long time, so they put more valuable things in. They've been pushing this product. It's what they put into the damn bundles, right? It's been force fed down our throat, and here it is where they finally just cut it off and said, fine, you won't even have an option to buy draft boosters anymore. They're basically pissing on your back and telling you it's rain. So yes, they cannot, like, if you put this in a standard draft with 15 draftable cards, it's going to throw things off. So again, I don't like this move. I think it's bad. I think at least they should have made it 15 draftable cards. So at least, your rotations work right and the number of cards you have in your deck work right. I think that it's diluting the rares and mythics even more. So further downward pressure, surprise, surprise. So when we do get those reprints, guess what? More of them, folks. Not only that, this is the only box, right? And I think that somebody mentioned about Amazon, right? I don't know, Cosmic, if they meant, I think they said they added 2 playable cards on top of the 12 because it's very unclear language in that, and then they're gonna have the art card. I think it'll have 15 cards with one of them being a token or an art card or a advertisement. I think that's how it's gonna go. At any rate,
so far, I gotta say I'm with Superfast on this. I like this change.
and you know what? I'm hoping that you're gonna be singing that tune this time next year. We should bet a Cavern of Souls on it. But
hey, I have one from a very close friend. I would love to send to you over this.
So
and I feel more positive about play boosters than I ever did about Jumpstart.
It's not the worst.
Let's do that. What's a better product 1 year from now? Next Halloween. What is a better product? Jumpstart or play boosters?
Oh, that's not even a fair competition. I thought they said they're getting rid of Jumpstart. And Jumpstart was terrible. Now,
no,
Jumpstart was terrible. Hold on.
Every set Jumpstart.
Jumpstart was a great product when it was a standalone.
They did it good 2 times.
Right.
That's my opinion on Jumpstart. So clip it right here. Okay, I'm gonna blow myself up. Let's make a clip out of this, Bob. Okay, right? They did Jumpstart right 2 times. That's it. Hot take.
Yeah, and they did Commander Legends right once.
Fuck. God. I hate how right. I'm taking off my glasses. I'm doing that thing where I rub my eyes because you made too good of a point. They did Commander Legends once well. It was the original one. It was a pretty purple box. You could get a
great product. I love it. Is that a question, Dual Brain? I am not, but probably Pat is.
Hi, guys. Oh, dude. So I went to Maine.
Yeah, so Tortoise says, it's a 14-card pack, right? And that is going to just toss the numbers around when you try to mix draft boosters with the new play boost. I am so not a fan of these. Like, I think that the idea of reducing the number of SKUs is a good thing, but saying that doing it this way is a good thing, and basically they just increased the price of entry, right? They just literally said
100%.
No more $100 boxes. Yeah. We're going to force you, if you want to get in, go up 50% from what it was a year ago for the price of entry.
Oh, yeah. And I cannot disagree. whatsoever with that point or price point increase is that we are seeing a 22%, give or take, right? There's a notable increase in
Whoa,
the
hold on.
more
22%
entry
from what?
point
You say,
from draft to play booster.
oh no. No, no, no. You were able to obtain the draft boosters for $100, like on pre-order, like even now, like even the most recent ones. I've had all kinds of advertisements where you're going to get them at $100, right? Or maybe
Yeah,
105 at worst.
yeah,
You know what
and I
you know what
think
I saw
maybe
today?
125,
You know
give
what I
or
saw
take.
today?
Yeah.
Dominaria Remastered at 108.
Oh, the salt, it hurts so much.
Okay, that's what I saw today.
But I don't think that, I mean, 150, cool, whatever. That's the entry point of buying a box of Magic the Gathering come June
I
next
just
year.
want you all to really think about that for a moment. Dominaria Remastered, less than 1 year old product, introduced to the market at $195.
With
Not even a
tutors.
year later,
Yeah.
$108. Actually, 6 months later, it was 111, but $108, folks. And now you want to talk about play boosters, which could be just as crappy as like any EV, Dominaria United. I'm talking about recent sets here, folks. Dominaria United, Innistrad, anything. You know, that's what we're looking at now, $150. This is the entry point, folks. And we can't even make mastered sets that have way better cards, way more playable, and Dominator Remastered hold value for 1 year. Whoa, whoa. I mean,
Well, it's not that they're
I'll be honest
playable.
with you. Who is it? Twiddler said before, you can't wait for these things to hit $79 on an Amazon dump. I wouldn't buy them at $79 on an Amazon dump because this is what's happening.
So that was one of the conversations I had behind the scenes with another content creator. Was some of these products, I don't care about the value. I don't care about the price. I only care about the value. So when I saw that there was a huge sale on Crimson Vow collector boxes, right? One of the most worthless products I've ever seen. You know, it's got a whole bunch of bullshit of this, a whole bunch of crap of that, and a little bit of fuck all of those. Now, with that, I don't care how cheap the collector box is if I'm not getting value with the price I'm paying. And I think that that's where the play booster box is doing right, is that with the price you're paying, you get a very fair value out
I
of it.
don't agree with that. Again, this is what I'm saying. This is the shiny keys. They're doing something to try to entice $150 out of your wallet, but this will do nothing to increase the value in the box. It will only put more downward pressure because you're diluting the valuable cards even more. It does nothing to increase value. There's nothing here that says we're going to increase the value. No, they're just going to print more rares and mythics into the market. So instead of having the draft boosters where people would open packs and maybe only hit one rare or mythic, you're now going to hit even more rares and mythics because this is the only thing that's out there, and that's per box purchased. Now, I'm not going to say that it'll be more total because people used to buy more draft boxes. But what I'm saying is, per box opened, we're injecting more and more and more into the market. It's just,
if people are going to be hitting rares and mythics more often, mythics being the most expensive and sought after cards, rares following second only to those. If those both are hit more often in your play booster, will people not be excited for that? I mean, will
no,
that not
it's
be
just,
a chase experience? Isn't that why people chase after the set booster now? Is
but
because you
people
get
don't.
more rares and mythics?
But people don't. That's what I'm saying, is that only the pack cracking addicts chase that, right? It's not going to be exciting. And yes, it will just become the new norm. And then people will go, oh, that's not very exciting. And what I think is even worse is as you raise that price of entry. As you raise the cost, you have to recoup that money. The problem that WotC really doesn't understand, they don't set secondary market value. They set primary market value, and they do their utmost to try to destroy that with these, secret layer bundling a bunch of products together that dilutes the market. And people used to buy them, and it was a good deal. Like the first, what did they call that? The one where we bought the mystery booster and 2 other boosters, and we're like, that's a great value. Yeah, I calculated out on the last one. I'm like, yeah, it's not such a great value. When they do their Amazon dumps, really hosing the value overall in the market, talk about making people nervous. Yeah, not a chance on buying any of this stuff. I'll be honest with you. My recommendation is all of you do what Cosmic said. If you need to have the singles, go out and buy them. And in my opinion, like what we said, I don't know, was it last week, 2 weeks ago? Hell, I'll just wait, get a list of them, and have them made up at makeplayingcards.com to where the cost of my mythics and rares are 10 cents a piece. Because I don't
Bobby,
really care because they're not going to maintain value anyway.
So I gotta say that was one of my biggest worries. My biggest problems, right, with the new Fallout set coming out. Do I just proxy all of those cards that I'm
Yes.
really in love with?
This
Or
is
do I
this is
actually
them.
buy the commander and the collector sets?
Look,
It's
this is them doing the same thing, right? That I'm talking about, where they're just they're putting a different wrapper on it, but it doesn't attack the inherent problem, right? The inherent problem are
oh,
the reprints, right? And I think you'll be far better off down the road just buying
and also,
the
by the
cards
way,
that you want out of those.
not a sponsor, want a sponsor, makeplayingguards.com. What a wonderful site where you can get incredible proxies shipped right to your house. We do this for free because you do it for a low price. Yeah, I got nothing else on that. So my thought is like, do I support the IP and the company that's doing the crossover? Do I say, hey, I love Bethesda and the Fallout games so much that I want to actually pay the entry fee? Or do I just buy them for pennies on the dollar?
I'll be honest with you, if you really want to support Bethesda and Fallout, do that as a random giveaway on the channel. Hey, here's a Fallout. That'll be our giveaway instead of buying it from WotC, because this is just bad behavior on WotC's part. It's just corporate irresponsibility. It is a bunch of knuckleheads that don't know what the fuck they're doing in a collectible card game market at the helm, and in my opinion, utterly destroying it. Instead of figuring out how to do it properly, they're doing everything they can to twist the knobs, push the buttons,
Mm.
to continue the bad behavior. It's like
Well, so on
they're in
that
a
note,
stall,
though,
right?
so when you said twist the knobs and push the buttons as far as bad behavior goes, I'm thinking of what Cosmic Seeds said right here in chat. I bought the 3-box secret layer, got $100 for free. I too much know how you felt when you looked at this. Is with these 4 boxes, I feel as though I'm getting a good value when I look at these for the MSRP and going market price. The only flip side of that is what you're actually getting from that box price. So it's when
Honestly,
you
if you
look
want my
at
opinion, the only way these are going to maintain value is for somebody in the future that wants a Fallout version of Magic, and you keep that shit sealed.
100%. I mean, so I one of the big things I want to do with the purchases I have lined up for the Fallout sealed items, right? I want to take a collector booster box down to my dad, a huge Fallout fan. I want to have a couple of drinks, a couple of smokes, and we sit down and we open a product that I love, MTG. And he goes through all of these and he says, holy moly, it's dog meat. It's Preston Garvey. It's all of these things I love in something I can share with my son. Outside of that, this is probably a bad fucking idea. This is similar to what the flip side This is the antithesis of what Bob thought going into Lord of the Rings. When I said, Bob, you're going to be super fucking disappointed, just like I was with Adventures in Forgotten Realms, Battle for Baldur's Gate. I loved Drist. I loved Wolfgar, Caddy Bree, all of the adventurers of the realms, right? And I think this is going to be a huge letdown for me personally, because I'm so excited. I cannot imagine Wizards of the Coast doing me good. That's just not how
No,
they do.
they definitely killed it for me. You know, I had set aside a big budget for Lord of the Rings, but but I was
Oh,
waiting. I was cautious,
yeah.
and I waited until they started spoiling, and without being such an old curmudgeon, you
It's
know,
just
just
free dog.
what they
It's
did with Lord of the Rings immediately, like the first cards that they spoiled. I was like, that's not the Lord of the Rings I'm familiar with.
right, right. And well, so
Imagine if they
to
did
throw it
that with
back,
this. I think
like
they
if
learn
if there was a
that woke
whitewash
bullshit.
version of Three Dog, the reason he's so enigmatic is because of the character that he personifies in the game. He's downtrodden in so many ways. And if you made a white version, it'd be sad. If you made a white version of Preston Garvey, come the fuck on. I would rail against that in every comment section. And I think it would be the same feeling that a lot of Lord of the Rings proponents had when they saw the release. And I just can't imagine being so let down. But unfortunately, I'm so prepared for that with how terribly Wizards of the Coast has treated so many different IPs. I doubt that this will be as good as I want it to be.
I'm again, I issue caution, and this is why I hate talking about it. I wanted to actually touch more on, like, Lorcana going somewhat in a positive direction, and what we can expect going into we've got we just had Prime Day, which was kind of a meh. If you want to buy Magic products, I'm going to stick to my guns, and it's not just Magic; it's also Lorcana. I don't know if you remember Decoy, right? That he was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's a personal friend of mine, and he was one that was dropping a whole lot of money into the cardboard world, and I was like, stop, like
Stop doing
double,
that.
double,
This is
triple
a
flippy
terrible
was
place to be. We're all
where
getting
we
fucked.
stopped.
Yeah, if you're
Like,
not a fan of butt stuff, don't buy TCGs.
so he's coming over again. It's usually like 6 months or more that just we're busy dudes, and it's hard to get together and crack open product. And he's coming over in a couple weeks, and I was like, oh, we should crack some product, but Magic just feels bad. Like, I got a whole bunch here I can open. It doesn't even cost me anything. And I'm debating buying a $350 Lorcana box to at least make it somewhat fun to open.
Right,
Um,
right.
Even though it would just grind my teeth to buy from the scammer flipper market at those prices, just to have fun with first world problem friend. I just there I'm not, even with Lorcana, I'm not excited about opening. I'm excited about opening Lorcana if I
What
could get it at
so on
retail,
that note, like
but there's nothing I want to open.
I feel I feel
Like, literally nothing I want to open at this point.
tumultuous about it. I'm tossed, I'm turned. So I just opened the majority of Lorcana product that I opened behind the scenes between me and a buddy and just having fun with it. Right. It was absolutely brilliant every time I opened up a pack. Had a real fun time. And I gotta say, Bob, with the experiences that we shared, just opening up sealed boxes, whether it be the decks or packs, it was a fun time. I think that even though it will be an expensive entry point, you'll have a fun time.
Now see, that'll take it away from me, right? You had a fun time, but had you bought that box at the TCG market price instead of at the Walmart price, right? I think your experience would have been very different.
Yeah, I would not have doubled my money on pack openings.
Right. And
100%.
that can't sustain. That's why, I'm not saying Lorcana's the next savior to the TCG world. It's not. The reason that you have this lopsided, illogical market is because of the scalper flippers, right? And that can't sustain. They will eventually get driven out. They will eventually increase the print runs, just like Flesh and Blood did, to where, okay, you can't have a few people controlling the market. We'll just flood you with it.
Well, and
I think that's going to hurt Lorcana.
Like,
I think it's going to hurt Lorcana
in the beginning when we talked to the representatives at Gen Con, the idea was that it would be such a prevalently produced product, Triple P, love y'all out there, so that people would have this at a very cheap price.
That's their intent, but they didn't know how to make that happen.
And I don't think that will be fixed by the third or possibly even the fourth set. I do not think
I do. I don't think it'll happen by the second set. I think it's probably going to be, and I don't think it'll be like even around the first of the year whenever they release the third wave, which I haven't even seen the second wave yet. I think that their eyes are bigger than their stomach, that they want to do that, and they say these things, but they just can't make it happen. The logistics are just not there.
Well,
so I think they will catch up.
So,
and I think that the flippers will go somewhere else.
The second wave was Coach sent me a text message saying that Walmart had a delivery of product, which was one booster box. So I bought 18 out of the 24 packs just because he had bought
as much as I love
of that.
As much as I love you, Cosmic, I'm going to disagree. Not at this point. I think that they will, given the chance, but there's no chance because even avid TCG collectors can't get their hands on the product right now.
Well,
the product isn't on the shelf long enough.
100%. I mean, so I have an astigmatism. Y'all might not pick up on it, but this lens, yeah, it serves a purpose. It's so I can like see and shit. So I drove to Walmart 9:30 at night just so I could get Lorcana because it was on the shelf. And what I did was spend $200 fucking dollars because that's what it cost to buy every single thing they had. And that's the type of thing that they're driving right now. I don't know that Lorcana would ever be bought by grandparents.
I do.
Because
I
there
think
is
give
no
time.
availability. There's not near enough
disagree
product.
with that.
I mean,
I disagree with that. It's a matter of perspective, Pat. That's where we're at right now, right? And look, Flesh and Blood ran into the same thing, and I think Ravensburger has more pull. So I think they'll get the print runs more dialed in. What I'm afraid of is another Monarch event happen, right? Because once this is what I'm saying, people, Magic can die. Just look at what happened with Flesh and Blood. It's a real skittish market, and it can turn on a dime.
Okay, I've got a total different clause. Okay, question. How much would you spend right now, MSRP, if you could buy Lorcana boxes for $155.99? How many would you buy?
That's not MSRP.
No. Practically. I mean, let's be honest. A good site, somebody you know. If Game Nerds sent you,
how many would I buy? I'd buy the initial amount that I wanted, 12 boxes.
12. So you would spend $1,500, give or take, right?
I mean,
I
have orders out there. I even did technically pre-order with the same place where I pre-ordered the first chapter. I had pre-ordered the second chapter, or Rise of the Floodborn, if you guys aren't familiar. So I'm into them for an order of about close to $4,000. I don't know. They're between $3,600 and $4,000, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't expect it will ever get fulfilled. I will buy it all if they give it to me, but it is all at MSRP.
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, Yeah, I was gonna say 100% fucking A, right. I mean, is there any for me, 100% same line. I've got
It
$800,
wouldn't
give or
change. It
take.
wouldn't change how much I buy.
No, so the only thing that changes the amount I would buy is if I can fucking get it from a
Yes,
reputable source. Like
yes.
there's all sorts of eBay listings. Oh, hey, you can buy it for this, you can buy it for that. Scam, right? I'm not no dummy. Drunk, but not an idiot.
I just had a
So,
thought.
yeah.
So just had a brain baby here. What I think would be excellent for Lorcana is if you could put in a purchase order and not have a guaranteed delivery date, maybe within the next 3 years, so to speak. And you could get up to 10 booster boxes of the first chapter that they will guarantee that they're going to go get some printer time within the next 3 years to get you the first chapter. I don't think the scalpers could stay ahead of that. You
No, but
know,
I
on
think that
on the
that's
Lorcana site, on not Disney, but on the Ravensburger site, that essentially they do like what they're doing right now with the Fallout commander decks, is that you can pre-order into the future, so they already know like an expected print run,
yeah,
and that
sort of
they'll
like
just
what
buy when they have time
yeah,
more print space rather than
yeah,
interrupting their current flow, right?
right, yeah.
And I think
Similar
that'll
to
help
what
if they start
Wizards of
doing
the
that.
Coast does with their secret layers,
It
where
starts
they'll print a demand in that
it
ordered
starts with,
expectation.
but don't shut it off. You know what I'm saying? Just leave it open, right? And for as long as people want it, that'll chase away. I think that would be a brilliant way to chase away the flipper scalpers, right? That will
Yeah.
keep this open for the next X amount of years and just stay ridiculously so far out. Like, we'll do this for the next 5 years. We'll keep it open and you can order as much as you want or up to 10 boxes per person. Or well, I think a case is 4. So up to 12 boxes per person. And we won't charge you until it's printed and ready to ship, or even charge a bit. Like, you got to have some skin in the game, right? 10% down, whatever. They should come up with something like that to try to mitigate these abusive people. And some of the LGSs, where's Time Capsule if you're still here? It'll stop these abusive predatory practices of the LGSs, charging scalper prices, and it'll stop the scalpers. Fine, hold on to those boxes as long as you want, because if these people are patient, fine, they'll get their product, right? And they can control that, because the problem is, and you saw that Ravensburger legitimately, when we talked to them, they really wanted the release to go differently. They really wanted people to have the product in hand. They
Well,
want the game to
absolutely,
grow.
and,
And
to me,
the,
that's the
the,
number
the
one
hard part is
issue.
the hard part is
The
figuring
number
out the
one problem,
logistics,
yeah.
right?
As far as logistics and distribution goes,
Yeah.
I think that's the number one issue that Ravensburger has had with this product release is across the board. The single most forefront issue I've seen from any consumer or actually store that sells the product, if they have it, is they don't fucking have it. Nobody has the products. So I started listing
That
some of the
that's
cards
not
from
true.
the packs I opened.
I've shown you pictures of people that are sitting on hundreds of boxes.
Those are single person outliers. As far as stores that sell it, people that have it, it's not a widely distributed product. There are some people, certainly, and I've seen the same kind of posts, is there are people that have a large quantity as far as single holders. And for me, mass box opening, if I had them, the couple of packs I had, most of a box, I opened most of already, right? Huge turn in profit.
And I would
Just
love to see people get nuked on that right now. I
right.
have cards that are
So
very
that's
valuable, but I
right.
would
And
love to
that's
see, for the health of the game, people get burned holding on to those kind of products, doing mass box openings, don't give a shit
yep.
about playing it, right? And so people can't play it that want to, like a la Coach, who's not here tonight. Coach, that those people can't get into the game. It can't flow naturally like what Ravensburger wants. But I think if they do what
Yeah.
I was talking about, the approach of on their own website, that you could buy reprint equity, essentially. Well, not reprint equity, bad term. You could buy into boxes that will be printed into the future, right? And you're going to get yours, that they put a certain limit on it. They try their best behind the scenes to only allow 10 per, mailing address, wherever it's going to go. And you have to put that in, right?
Yeah.
Putting out different credit cards is one thing. Putting in a different, like, receipt address, like, that gets much more complicated. So
Yeah, and
I think
they're
that's what
definitely
you have to
fail-safe,
do
like,
nowadays.
there's product protection that I think all of these companies need to lean into, and
Yes.
that's one of the as someone who works for a state government, complete clarity, right? So I work for a state government, and that is one of the things in a lot of our definition meetings we've had is how to protect ourselves from people who want to spam purchase items,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be sample plates of a certain type. Hey, I want to get all the pretend plates I have of a municipal registration. Hey, it looks like I work for the government from another state. No, fuck you. You can't pretend to do that shit. Same thing when it comes to the bot buyers of Lorcana.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was an absolute atrocity that they let people buy the quantities that both Bob and I and many other subscribers to Lorcana Facebook groups have seen. It's crazy to see people who have been able to buy $10,000 worth of Lorcana product when most people can't buy 10 fucking dollars of Lorcana product.
It is infuriating. Tell me, how did it make you feel when you saw those pictures? I'll be honest. I was surprised at how much of an emotional reaction I had to people holding. I didn't feel jealous. I felt angry.
So I gotta say,
I
Bob,
hope
you and
they
I,
did more.
we are very different types of people. My first thought when I saw that someone had $10,000 in all sorts of sealed boxes, the blister packs, Illuminator troves, the whole gamut, right? My first thought was, I'm kind of fucking jealous.
I was not
My
jealous at
my
all.
second thought was, this prick, he done beat me.
Now, see,
And
but that takes it
that's
away from the game itself,
from
right? That is.
someone who's bought, sold, trade MTG in both like the sealed, the mass opening kind of way. Is I felt as though someone had gotten the better of it. And the lack of product is one of the biggest issues in that. If they actually had printed the first chapter into the quantity that they had said they would, there wouldn't be this issue.
They didn't. First off, they didn't give a number, so they tried, and honestly, they're still trying. So they haven't said that they're not going to reprint it again and again and again and again, right? That's not a
Oh,
promise that
yeah.
they've made
Yeah, yeah,
anywhere,
for sure.
right? So we don't know yet. To say that they haven't done it, you have to use the word yet. And what you're
Yeah.
talking about, and the behavior that you're talking about, and it's very interesting, is that, let's say that, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. It doesn't matter if it's Lorcana. It doesn't matter if it's, a weird looking, box cutter. If this was something that was valuable and hard to get a hold of, and you're like, damn, they beat me out to it. And that's the problem, is that, you know, it hurt the game of Lorcana itself, because it didn't matter whether it was Lorcana or this thing, for what you're talking about, the idea that, it's a valuable and rare thing and they beat me to it. And so it's hurting the game itself because of people having that mentality, looking at it. Oh, I'm jealous. You
Yeah.
got this. I'm looking at it going, fuck you. You're making the game smother because it can't get in the hands of the people that really want it, because the prices are just absurd. And, I'm not going to do it. Oh, you should have seen it. I mean, we're talking about dozens of cases, Cosmic. It's disgusting. And not only that, it's not even the first time some of these are getting 15 cases of Lorcana to open. Right? It's just gross. And their spreadsheet and what they're talking about is just showing like how much money they made from cracking the singles. That arbitrage will eventually smooth out, and if they get more boxes in, oh, cool. He made a quick buck and hurt the game at coming out of the starting game. And who it really impacted is somebody like me, somebody who wanted to be an enthusiast, went to Gen Con, pre-ordered it, not ridiculous amounts, but enough for me personally as a person with means. 3 cases is not a ridiculous amount considering they're 4
to be
boxes.
100% clear, I mean, it hurts not just people like you, people like me, but subscribers and members of the channel. If I had a full booster box right now, I'd give away 2. 100%. I'd send one. I'd do all the custom bullshit that I have behind me. I'd send one out to Savannah Lions because fuck, we all know how hard that's going to be and then I'd give one away to people here in the US. If I had enough, I would give it out to people who don't have it. And I've got 3 sealed decks, and I'm thinking for our big giveaway, I send one out to people. If this was so common, I wouldn't want to send those out because everybody would have that availability.
Yeah, the cost would be ridiculous to try to get it to them.
It wouldn't be
I
worth
get it. And again, I hope that at some point the grandparents do get to buy it. I think that it has that capacity. So that's why I say, full speed ahead with the printers. Go for it until it chases away the I keep wanting to say scammer, but it's scalper flippers. That's what needs to be driven out of the marketplace. They are hurting the game, pure and simple. The only people that are attracted to Lorcana right now, because of the money, will disappear. They will dry up and go away, and then the game can be played. And then it can build something that people love so that in the future it may have some financial value for if you were the one that held on to the first, set for a long period of time in the way that a normal, healthy TCG should grow. Right now, I don't see any other way than a giant deflation, right? That there'll be, at some point, they'll release enough of it. And once they do, it'll be a quick race to the bottom. That those prices will just crash hard. And I'm fine with that.
Been, honestly, seeing a lot of that in the last couple of months is that there has been an absolute race to the bottom as far as secondary market sales of cards from sealed products go. And I think we'll honestly continue to see that going forward for most TCGs. I know for me, when I open up Flesh and Blood, whether it be Lorcana or Magic the Gathering, my first thought is, how do I get a return on this product?
I don't understand Cosmic
We'll see that going forward. That's a huge drive for purchasers.
Are you talking about this year in Las Vegas? Cosmic, what was the price of Lorcana there? I know that I thought I saw Ed say something about that, so I'm kind of curious of what the price was there. Was it like time capsule prices, like $15 to $20 a pack? Ridiculous. So I agree that there's going to continue to be a race to the bottom, and I think that it needs to find that arbitrage moment, right, where they've printed just enough to get down to the MSRP where they expected it to be, so that they can get people to play. And understand, MSRP for this product is not cheap. It's already at that play booster price, and it's even less product. I've said this before. Lorcana is not cheap, just inherently, even at the
absolutely. And so for me to be 100%, clarity, right? With the purchases I got at Walmart, $6.98 a booster pack. Well, there's no way I'm not turning a profit on the secondary market with that price point. If that was the price point for everyone getting in, and there was such an abundance of product, the secondary market would not hold as it does currently.
No.
Whereas The flip side of that, unfortunately, is Magic the Gathering, where there is such an absolute fucking abundance of product. There is so much stuff. I have it sitting on my shelf. Bob's got it sitting on his shelf. You've got it sitting on your shelf. There is so much Magic the Gathering production that the price doesn't hold up. And this is a huge flip. As someone in the MTG and trading card community in general, I'm seeing this huge disparity of price and production and fucking price. It's just absolutely wild
But
to
we have to put
see.
that in perspective, right? Like, people are bashing Lorcana like it should be producing at numbers like Pokemon and Magic. It was the first go, people. It makes
Right.
sense to me that you're a bit more conservative. Better to be conservative and have a desert of product than to have a flood of product and you're not getting your money out of it, right? That would be horrible if the
Oh my
situation was
god.
reversed.
Imagine if it was like Legions, Realms at War, where they made bunches of it and nobody gave a shit about it.
Yeah,
Right. What would
or
they
just
do?
that or just that you saturated the market that exists. There will be a saturation point even for Lorcana, right? And it would be terrible on your come
Eventually.
out go on your debut to come out and just be like, look at all the content creators will be tearing it apart, saying, look at all this deluge of Lorcana printed to infinity worthless products sitting on the shelves. It would be terrible. It'd be way worse than
That's
what it actually is right now.
I mean, I'll give you that, but the flip side is if I gave you the option 6 boxes of Lorcana first chapter or 6 boxes of any Magic the Gathering product ever, what
Wait,
would you
what?
rather open?
Well, that's not fair because I
I
do
mean,
have an itch to open, alpha and beta boosters for Magic because I never got to. Right, I got to open exactly one booster of Legends. I don't remember how I've never opened an unlimited. I've opened I think 2 or 3 packs of revised. So a lot of that early stuff. I've never opened Arabian Nights.
I gotta
Um,
say, with
I've never
Cosmic
opened
Seed's
Antiquities.
comment here, it's interesting that your counterpoint is the oldest Magic the Gathering set versus the first ever set of Lorcana. And that's where like you're literally I can hear it. Those are equivalent balances on the scale. That's interesting to me. Is it's not Rise of the Eldrazi, it's none of these other sets that were huge and bombastic. It's the first versus the first.
Well, and the reason is because at some point there was a younger Bob out there that wanted to open beta, that wanted to open Antiquities. And understand, I got in 1994, right? That means the game had been out for 1 year. And there were like 5 sets that I could not open because I couldn't even get my hands on them. They didn't even exist over in Okinawa when I first heard about the game. And by the time I got back to the States, 3 years later, it was already way too expensive, and Urza Saga and Tempest and all that
Well, I
Stronghold was
guess
very
that's
exciting. So,
separately a good question to ask.
but I'm a
Is
very
as
different
someone
case.
who, for you, Bob, who has seen the emergence of different TCGs, do you think just and I know it's a little bit convoluted as far as the time periods go. Do you think that Alpha MTG versus first chapter Lorcana? What's your opinion point there?
Oh
What
my
are
god,
the
Alpha MTG is going to be far more rare, far more valuable because they printed way less of it. You know, people don't realize that Lorcana is getting bashed, and it produced way bigger numbers of product than Magic did of the Alpha. And Alpha suffered from a very different thing, a completely unknown market, right?
you know
It was
Right, yeah,
completely
they
new
didn't
waters. It
go into
wasn't
something that
TCGs
was
didn't
so
exist.
established, and that's you make a good point right there off the bat, is what Wizards of the Coast was going into as far as reception versus Lorcana. When Lorcana started on the market, they had 70 years of backlog of familiarity with people. For me, Hakuna Matata, motherfucker. When I saw Robin Hood, when I saw Jasmine, oh boy, I was a child again. The first time I saw Magic the Gathering, zero familiarity. Mirage, what is this? I don't know about cards that you turn sideways. This is nothing like Bicycle, you know? It's nothing like uh playing spades. And I think that leaning into that, Lorcana certainly has a different advantage. Whereas Wizards of the Coast, they've been around so long that they have had certainly needed to change how they interact with their own product line. And I think the play boosters is a huge reflection of that. I
I
was
don't think so.
listening
I think
to
it's just one. I think it's just one more Penn and Teller, shiny keys. How do we keep this unhealthy train going? I think that they're doing it with the like almost everything. It was funny. Somebody pointed out. I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Louis talking about the numbers. That it's funny. Everything that's doing well is now Universes Beyond. As I don't know if you remember when the first Universes Beyond started coming out with like Ikoria and Godzilla, right? That they're like, what the
oh,
hell is this?
100%.
And the Hello Kitties and all, or, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Whatever it is in the secret layers. And people were The Walking Dead. Holy shit! Mark Rosewater told me personally. He's like, wow, if we listen to the internet, you would think that the Walking Dead was the worst thing that Magic's ever done in their
Right. Yeah.
history, but it
Yeah.
was the best selling secret layer ever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and now everybody is look at you. What are you excited about? Magic or Fortnite Magic, right? Or not Fortnite,
Yeah.
sorry, Fallout
Fallout.
Magic.
Yeah, absolutely. I
And
can't
so
say it
everything is they're gonna
so
run out of that. That nostalgia, that
yeah.
shiny keys, gimmicky bullshit is gonna
Mhm.
get old hyper fast. And then what you're gonna be left with is some shitty product that's overpriced, that messes with the dynamic, and now you've really muddied the waters that you shouldn't be mucking with. And 14 card booster packs, right? It saves one piece of cardboard. They were talking about it. It saves one piece of cardboard in every pack, and that adds up over time. I'm like,
No,
get
and I
fucked.
think you make
Like,
a great point
this is
there,
terrible.
is when do the member berries run dry? When have we run out of intellectual properties comparable to Fallout, whether it be the Marvel's universes, whether it be the Mortal
Well,
Kombat series
Lorcana would
or
have that, not
Fortnite?
Magic.
Right. And I don't think it'll be too terribly long before we see an end to these crossovers that are salacious to other people, whether it be a video game or a comic book. I don't think it'll be too terribly long before we see a stop in things that draw other people over. And it will really come down to how Wizards of the Coast is able to curate their own product line. And up until now, it has sadly been sad.
Well, let me ask you this. So one of the best received crossover IPs for the product line, at least is what we keep hearing cheerleaders say, which did I buy those? I don't even think I bought those. Maybe I bought them. I don't even know. I have to go look on my shelf. The has to be the Warhammer 40K commander decks, right? How excited do
Well,
you think people would
you've
be, and
done
how well do you think it would
40K.
do if they announced next year, hey, Warhammer 40K version 2? Like, those decks are not going to sell as well. You're not going to have the hype. It was a nostalgic, gimmicky one time. And even if that does well,
Yeah,
how much would the
yeah,
third printing of Warhammer 40K commander decks do?
right. Right.
right? So you're going
Yeah.
to drive that well. If that's what you're leaning on, if that's the health of your game, is gimmick pulling in other people, because you think those people are sticking around when they buy those decks and realize, oh shit, I dropped $500 on a product. I was just watching that Louis, right? He bought somebody's collection because they got in during Lord of the Rings, right? And they were buying into all this hype about what's worth it. Think about it. A 6-month Timmy that bought $4,000 worth of product that probably sold it all to Louis at a loss.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you know, that's how long his excitement lasted. And he realized, oh, fuck, this is all going down the drain. It's not a very appealing thing to be brought into by a crossover to suddenly try to get into a hobby and realize, holy shit, this is expensive because I buy a $150 booster box and walk away with $12 in cards. That's a pricey game to play.
Right. Well, the flip side of that is dumb motherfuckers like me who are just so absolutely excited for the IP crossover. I mean, I've got to say, honestly, and as someone who buys most only proxy cards, I'm really excited to buy some Fallout product from MTG, whether it
Cool.
be the collector decks or the sealed precon decks or the collector product.
Let me
I
ask you this.
think,
How excited were you to buy Dominaria Remastered?
honestly,
When it,
really fucking
when it
excited.
came out?
Yeah. Oh no, I was so into it.
And how do you feel
Like
now?
I'm not happy now, no, by any
Okay.
stretch. But
So I hope that you don't have that same experience with your Fallout decks.
I think that it will be a very fun experience getting to play that in a sealed environment against other friends.
Cool.
I have an odd
Are you talking about
idea
Dominaria
with,
Remastered?
so that's the thing, is like Dominaria Remastered is only Magic the Gathering products. When it comes to this new set, similar to the Warhammer decks, I can see that there's a different built-in value. And for me, I've spent about 10,000 hours playing Fallout games across all the different series. And I cannot imagine myself being disappointed with this set. With just what I've seen already, it's thematically hitting a lot of points. With what I paid to get the cards, it's almost the same price as proxies. I'm I'm pretty pleased with this. And
Sure. And
I
I'm not
look
bashing that. I'm not
no,
bashing
I
that
was
at
just
all.
gonna
And
say,
you're not talking about buying 5, 10 cases of it, believing that
yeah,
it's going to hold
yeah.
value down the road. What I am saying is it's not healthy from a meta view when you back out from a 1,000-foot view. And I agree with Coach. And I don't want to poo-poo on your parade. I hope you have a ton of fun with them. What I'm saying, but didn't you say you're also buying collector boxes? I think that's going to end up hurting over the long run.
Two-piece. I
What I'm
just want
saying is,
those cool artworks.
as far as like a health of a game, you know, if you're watching an EKG, you don't want it to go ba-ding. That's bad, and that's essentially what they're living on now, is waiting for that, you know, massive spike, and then that's what they're living on because it has to smooth out for the rest of it. That's just not healthy for a heart. It's not healthy for the game.
So for me,
And that's what they're buying into.
as a buyer, someone who's rather familiar with the MTG market, I'm not going to sell a single one of these cards. This is
And that's
all
fine.
purely binder. I want to get enough so I can put them in an artwork frame and send them to my father. I want to deliver this shit framed to my pop so he can see all of these extended artworks in the same enthusiasm that I have. I mean,
I don't know that he will. I honestly don't know that he will,
oh
because you
man,
have a double nostalgia. You like hold on, you like Magic and you like Fallout.
yeah.
While your father might like Fallout, how much is he into Magic?
I would say a solid 30% of his investment into Fallout.
Okay, so again, I'm not trying to poo-poo on it, but I'm what I'm trying to highlight is
I
the
get what you
gimmicky
mean.
nature,
It's
of
hard
what
to
they're
have
doing.
that duplicity of crossover interest. And with people like me, I am like the core audience for this
Yes.
product, which is super surprising because there has not been a single product in MTG since Time Spiral Remastered that I was this excited for, which is the product line that brought me back into MTG after my hiatus. So for the crossover, I think this is going to hit a lot of points, more so than Lord of the Rings or the Doctor Who set. I think Fallout's a pretty wide, expanding series that's going to hit a lot of people. But the flip side of that is the constant disappointment in MTG itself. What will people get when they buy into this product line? Yeah, you'll get some cool cards that have something that's familiar and reminiscent to you. But the biggest issue with people that buy into this product that aren't familiar with MTG is that you're going to get a bunch of cards that are not worthwhile. Whether it's Wasteland, Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, yeah, they're kind of cool and everything, but you're not going to get a card that really pushes the boundaries or limits of MTG. Nothing that's particularly worthwhile. And I think that that's going to hold this set back a whole lot outside of the newly introduced cards in the Commander sets. And I really hope that they put something bombastic in those. If they don't, this will be a huge flop. And I'm still gonna fucking buy it, Pop. I'll be 100% honest with you. I
No,
really
and
like it.
I'm not saying don't, right? Because you are already looking at it in a healthy way, where I don't see that in the wider Magic market. People are still hoping for, that scratch off hit. The girl that bought the $12 box this week that I watched for Jumpstart and didn't get her value, and Matt Caster who opened $150 Commander Masters and got $75 worth of
God,
product.
Jesus. Yeah,
And that's
it's
what
yeah,
what I'm saying is that's not what you're looking for out of the Fallout. So,
right.
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anybody don't buy the Magic products that appeal to you for the reasons that you want them to, right? Buying it for the financial value, there is nothing that WotC's doing. And as a matter of fact, if even with these, what do they say, 40 to 50 new cards in each of the commander decks for Doctor Who, and I would expect Fallout to have the same. They're trying to create new reprint equity, and then as soon as anything pops, that's going to be the next reprint target, right? So
Exactly. 100%.
they're already creating, the new future ex-wife, so to speak, meaning
Yeah.
the cards that people are just going to try to just absolutely get rid of as fast as possible because
Yeah.
they're trying to generate new reprint equity because they've already drained the reprint equity out of the cards for the last 30 years. The problem with that is those cards over the last 30 years had 30 years to appreciate. When you're creating this new false sense of, valuable cards, people will just catch on to that and go, it's valuable today, and I don't have the time to, make sure I get it fast, get it to market fast, and get out of it. And then I don't have the cards anyways, and so you don't have any vested interest in the game anymore because you're just trying to get some money back out of it because it just feels bad to spend. How many of you can honestly afford to spend $5,000 a year on Magic? Ask yourself that. Do you have your retirement set? Have you looked at what the market's doing? Do you have a home? Is your car paid off? Do you have 700? I was shocked to hear car payments. The average is $750 for a
Get the fuck
fucking
out of here.
car payment.
Get the
That
fuck out of
something
here. No, no, no,
something
Bob.
something like
Hold the shit on.
no. I'm not kidding you.
$750?
750 is the average car payment right now.
Oh,
That
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but what's even more awesome is something like 20% of the people that have car payments are paying over $1,000 a month for a car payment. I'm like, dude, are you high? I'm looking at these shithole apartments that people are paying $1,200 to $1,500 a month for. And then I'll ask again: do you guys have the expendable income to drop $5,000 on Magic products that the secondary market values are
Oh,
half
Jesus
of that, a
Christ.
quarter of that? And the answer is going to
I
be,
mean,
by and large,
I'll be
no.
100% fucking honest. Okay, blow myself up. Right. If I had $5,000, I I probably do. I probably have $5,000 in disposable income to spend on MTG a year. What I don't do is spend $5,000 on Magic the Gathering every year. There's a bunch of other things that I find far more important, whether it be spending time with my family, showering my friends with gifts, or traveling overseas. $5,000 a year into Magic the Gathering is absolutely the most pipe dream bullshit thing I've ever heard outside of like Rudy. And
No,
I
I've been doing
feel,
it.
I, Bob, if you're spending 5K a year in
I
MTG,
was.
Was,
Oh,
and that's
not now. Not a
right,
chance.
right,
Because
okay.
no, right now that would just be, make it rain, light them $100 bills on $100 bills
I
on
was gonna
fire
say,
and
I
toss
didn't
them
know
around. It's
you
like,
played
no,
Fallout. It's yeah,
no, no. And what I'm saying with that is, it feels okay when it feels like that value is still sitting on my shelves. Should I choose not to open them and I just want to liquidate?
right.
I
Yeah,
really
when
didn't. Okay, I lost out on the interest gain on appreciation of the money. Fine, but I like looking at them on my shelf. You're losing all the people like me, and I'm not a whale, folks. Like, I know that might sound like a lot to a lot of people. I'm a dolphin, and I might be a small dolphin at that.
I
And all
also
the
I
dolphins
gotta
that
say,
I
I
know
think
of,
you
and the one
pioneered
whale I
that.
know of, they're
I
not
think
doing
you
it anymore, folks.
I think
That's what
you
I'm saying.
pioneered that shit, Bob.
No, I
The
didn't.
whole
I
dolphin
had to look
thing.
it up. No, I looked it up. I didn't know what it is. But
Take all the credit.
no, I'm not.
No,
I don't
do it.
bullshit people. No, I don't bullshit
No,
people. That's
do
not
it.
my. That's not my way.
So
Um,
Cosmic, you heard it here. Bob is the person who pioneered the term
I did
dolphin.
not. Do
Yeah,
not clip
look at
that.
that. He can't even take the accolades. He's blushing and
I
all that
didn't come
shit.
up with it. If
Thank
you
you, coach, for
want, I'll
helping
go find the
support us.
website.
It's
And they even have guppies. That's what most people are, right? And they're appealing to the fucking guppies right now. Those are the scratch off lottery winners. Those are the guppies that spend maybe $500 to $1,000 a year on Magic. Right? That's who they're
well, and
appealing to
honestly,
because they're not out much. They didn't have anything to
that
begin with, so having nothing
yeah,
at the end doesn't hurt them.
that's not terribly wrong though. I mean, and no offense, and absolutely love everybody out there, but like coach, right? He sent me a text message. He was like, "Hey, I bought a couple of packs of Lorcana down at our local Walmart." So I went and bought every single thing that they had. And that's a huge disparity of, hey, I spent 20 or $30 versus I spent 10 times that amount at the drop of a hat. And I think that thing goes along into other TCGs where there is nothing in Magic the Gathering that drives me that way.
Oh, it's
Surprisingly,
driving me in the
outside
other
of the
direction.
Fallout series.
I want to buy, don't get me wrong, I want to buy Magic. I want to buy more Magic. I would love for Bloomborough to be that's the one I like the artwork on the most, but the fundamentals of the game, these changes that they're making, I don't even care about, the crossover IPs. I think it's a nice little flavor, but the fundamentals are busted. They're bad. And if you're leaning into the crossovers being what you lean on, what you lean into, as that's what's making you healthy, that's bad. It's very, very bad.
Nah,
It's like
man.
saying I got energy by drinking energy drinks. I think anybody who takes energy drinks over a long period of time realizes the absolutely
Detrimental.
terrible
Yeah.
long-term health effects on you. So it's the same thing here. These are energy drinks. It's Magic's version of energy drinks.
Mm.
And yeah, you know who you saved him for, Coach? You saved him for Pat. By the way, yeah, I've been talking about it, and I really, maybe I should say it behind the scenes. I feel like I owe you guys a visit out there on the East Coast. Like, I'm trying to work that out somewhere between, so I can hit you, Coach, Pause, BBD. I think I was talking to BBD about it. Like, where would be the best spot for me to go get a hotel room?
Boston.
Blah blah blah. Maybe just have like a mini BobCon and just have all of you meet me somewhere
So
in the
the
middle.
best place would probably be Boston. I'll so my imagination, BBD, Dave being the big dick
Guy
bastard.
and Jay too. I don't want to forget them.
So we'll go down to Boston. I got an all you can eat Korean barbecue. I'll pick up paws on the way. I'll cause all the paws, right? Me and him, we drive
I'm just
down.
afraid of you guys driving, right? I worry about sobriety and like us all getting together and having a good time. That we need to get a place where y'all can crash.
Oh no, I don't
The
drink and
last place
drive.
you want to
That's
go is
like a whole
Boston.
thing.
Where could we entice you to go, Coach? Like
Oh,
I
so
want to try to keep it
motherfucking
somewhat
coach
central.
coach legitimately lives like 12 and a half minutes away from me.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to go to Boston.
Yeah. He doesn't want to. But when I say, hey, I'm gonna pick you up and I'll pay for everything, he'll go to Boston.
And we'll have to get Stefan, and I don't know if Tanya would even want to come, but we'll have to get you guys out there too. I mean, we need to have like a BobCon and just I kind of owe the people on the East Coast, up there in the New Hampshire area, some kind of visit. It feels like I do. I don't know what that means. A potty. Gotcha.
Party.
Gotcha.
A
Gotta go to the
party.
potty.
It's a fucking party, Bob. I don't know.
But
You drink some water if you don't want a party. It's a whole like thing down by
I
the
think
house.
that could be a good time. I like I want to try to put that on my radar. God help me where I can fit that into my schedule.
So Dave, not too long ago, was trying to hook up a whole thing in New York. So we'll see if
I think it
that
was
works out.
Pennsylvania. Was it New York or Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah, but I'll be there. I'll protect you, Coach. I'll give you hugs.
Yeah, right. No butt stuff unless you want it.
Right. I am the big spoon. But I wanted to ask one more question because I really want to get some food. I'm sorry, folks. I want to get towards wrapping this up here. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't think we have dual brain after this. But I did want to touch on sorcery a little bit.
Ooh.
I saw sorcery beta coming out nowish, but I saw a place where I could pre-order it and they had it in stock. I put it in the cart. It was like $111 a box. If it's such the bomb diggity, why is it available at such a low price?
I think the beta boxes don't carry some of the
Rudy's hyping the shit out of it. And I so don't pay attention.
I'll be 100% honest. I blow myself up for this because it's gonna be a hot take. I think Rudy 100%. I feel as though Rudy is floundering right now with the huge loss in product want from consumers with Magic the Gathering. I think one of Rudy's biggest sale items is other TCGs. And with the lack of interest in all TCGs in general, Rudy from Alpha Investments is probably one of the biggest, saddest bag holders at this point.
The only caution I would issue there is that, some of this can turn. The markets are fickle. If Magic goes out of print, there'll be some premium to it. I don't think Rudy's going to hurt in any fashion. Like
I
his
think he's
money,
hurting
his
a
money
whole lot.
machine going burr has come to a grinding halt. And I think that will ultimately push him into going, all right, you're going to hear me dip out. And I have a feeling that that's probably on the horizon, not too far in the future. He did experience crazy success during a really peak period of time, and he could have made enough money. I have friends that are crypto multimillionaires. They happen to do it, and they got lucky, right? You can get into something that can supply the rest of your life if you get out at the right time. It's like gambling. You quit while you're ahead.
Oh, absolutely. And my biggest thing is that holding a physical product is probably not the way to do so. I can't think that whether it be Magic the Gathering, toilet paper, vitamin C pills, I can't think of holding a physical product that is worthwhile in the way that it used to be. Holding a Magic the Gathering product garnering 5 to 8% a year has certainly gone by the wayside.
Well, first of all, holding a luxury item, that's luxury items are only valuable during, market abundance, right? Where the financial times are good. And we're heading into, I think all TCGs, Lorcana included,
Yeah.
are in for a bumpy ride. I think that, the financial markets are going to experience lots of turmoil and trouble over the next at least 3 to 5 years, which is unfortunate for me because I'm trying to eyeball retirement. So my investments are like,
Good fucking luck.
you want to talk about bad? So, like, just to give you an idea, like, oftentimes on a single day, I'll lose $16,000 to $20,000, right? And that's one day. And then you'll see it go back up again. And it's like this really bumpy, gut churning sort of ride. And it's been bad for the last few years. You had some recovery, but that's just the way things go. And I think that holding on to luxury items in the end, far enough in the future, that some of this will have its moment in the sun and then it'll go down again. And, look, a box of Ice Age right now, $1,000 still for what would be widely regarded as a crappy Magic product.
Right. Yeah.
So, Fallen Empires, definitely crappy, still $500-$600. If that was
right.
$100, I'd fucking buy it.
Sealed pack of it. And for what? What fucking reason do I have to keep a box of Fallen Empires when I know if I open it, it's fucking worthless?
I would do that, but not
as
at the price
a
point.
sealed pack. Like, I recently heard of someone who had a binder and they had one of every sealed pack from Magic the Gathering's history. That entices me. That's an interesting idea to me. Not opening them, but having one of every pack as a collector, as a different type of collector, right? When I look at collecting one of every card from a set, that's gone out the window with the amount of variance that they have. It's too convoluted. I think looking back over other Magic the Gathering sets, we'll have a very different outlook with the combination of draft and set boosters together. It'll be difficult going back and looking at the price value and the expected value for different sets. When we look at things like Commander Legends, when we look at things like Innistrad, the Crimson Vow version, I think we'll have a very different outlook going back over the years. I don't think going forward that there is any change. We'll have to deal with what Wizards of the Coast gives us and rebel against it as much as we can. That's the biggest thing we can do as purchasers, is to voice our opinion in very public forums, whether it be communications with Wizard of the Coast itself or their YouTube channels. I think that it's very important that people put out their opinion. I know certainly here by having a YouTube channel about that voicing our opinion is the least and sadly most we can do outside of buying product or not.
Well, and that's just it. That WotC did this to me. And if they're doing it to me, I'm going to imagine that many of the people like me, the older people with means that have money, that actually have been filling the market with the singles that are available out there, that pump these numbers, that make them, they're trying to get me, right? They're trying to get my type of buyers. There are far more dolphins. So there are far fewer whales than there are dolphins. There are far fewer dolphins than there are guppies, right? And right now they're going for that lower end of the guppies, which is the most amount of people. However, it's an inverse pyramid when you look at the spending. The whales outspend me
Right.
20 to
It's
1.
that 80
Even if
20
there's 10 to 1 dolphins, the whales were outspending us 20 or 50 to 1, right? And the dolphins are outspending the guppies 20 or 50 to 1, even if there's, 10 to 15 times more guppies. So it's that problem of this inverted number of people versus inverted versus number of dollars spent. And unfortunately, the people that are really getting caught in the pooter are the stores that hold on to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have Amazon dumps, right? They wouldn't. That's the arbitrage. You're witnessing arbitrage, and that's stores having sales or just going out of business, which you're hearing, left and right. That you're seeing Amazon dumps. These are evidence that you can see in front of you. All these sales that you get if you have any kind of mailing list from any of the online sellers, that you don't have those kind of weird. Look right now. What's the price right now on Amazon? I don't know, of Dominaria Remastered. I saw it like sometime this week at like 108. I don't remember if that was today, yesterday, or whatever. You wouldn't have these prices. What's Double Masters 2022? Just pick anything that was like hype. Modern Horizons 2. No, I agree with you, Coach. I think you're absolutely on point there. That he is a salesman. Now, we were talking about that earlier on the stream. Hopefully, you go back and rewatch parts of this the earlier stream, Coach. I was talking about how so many content creators you have to be right. That hurts. Look at that shit. The collector boxes at 203. I had a good deal. I bought them at like 214 a piece. I think that's my price point. Is 214.
It's not great.
Right? That should be going up, not down. At least it's not horrible. Look at Dominaria Remastered collector boxes.
Yo, fuck that noise. What's Ikoria about? But they won't even show it. So naughty.
Well, I think Rudy's, getting old, and a lot of us don't even really watch him much anymore. We'll like turn it on, listen to 2 minutes of it and go, I'm done with that.
Oh yeah, he yells, "Hey folks," and I turn off.
Oh, Sherry Vegas hates him. She's like, ugh. As soon as she hears, folks, she's like, ugh. She hates hearing it from the other room.
What a huge disparity.
What's that?
$80 versus $53.
Dude, it's just that's just the Amazon algorithm. So when you're watching Amazon, that's a pretty legit like what the market demands are. But that's why I was like, let's not look at these favored products, please. Let's look at Dominaria remastered boxes. Let's look at Dominaria United collector boxes. Shit, let's even pick something random like Brothers War. There we go.
$108. This ain't even on sale.
No.
Dang, oh, that just hurts.
Let's, not be unfair. Let's not just keep picking on that one. Like, let's look at other things, and that's what I'm saying is that this is the market demand. Look at Modern Horizons 2. What is Modern Horizons 2? Kind of curious about that. Doctor Who's, look, don't buy that. Don't dig look into the hype products because hype times don't matter. It's sustainability. Look at that shit. Cheaper than release prices, folks. Cheaper than release.
Box is very expensive, but
so that tells you what people are buying.
Just
even the bundles are actually at a high price, honestly. But these are the real demands because their algorithm just adjusts automatically.
And look at that for a set box.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm like $230 or $240 my cost for the set boxes. I have like 5 of them.
Shit, man, that's just gross.
What about Dominaria United collector boxes? That's another one where I took a giant bath. And Coach, you can revel in that one. Dominator United collector boxes. Oof. I'm in it. Like
Oh my
2
god!
10
Look at that
apiece.
Jumpstart, $45.
Yeah, that's the one that she bought for $12 and didn't even get $12 in value out of it.
Shit, fuck.
So again, this is what they need to address. That this is what they're causing. This is the market reaction to their products.
That's 6 boxes for 810.
That's not a good value.
No.
Was that
Just
set
a lot of
boxes? Is that
product.
what that was? At any rate, yeah, set
Booster.
boosters. Okay. And for something to even just hold value over time, it's actually losing value. Your money would have, if you had taken the same $108 a box a year ago and gotten the interest of 4% for over the year, well,
I mean,
you have
even
more money
Wild
now to buy
Gold
more product.
Train, $200 for a collector box.
I
Like,
think that's
that's just
about the same. It's just holding value. But here you're looking at like the newest releases. I
fair.
want you to look at Ikoria. Let's look at Ikoria. That would be interesting. You know, this is my point. Is that they're just killing it. And how about Zendikar Rising, one that you love so much? And now the prices of freaking expeditions are just garbage tanked. Oh, that's nice.
150.
137.
$140. Yeah.
What is it on TCG Player? Sometimes they don't quite match up. Yeah, it is overprinting, but overprinting is all relative, right? If there's a higher demand, then it's not technically overprinted. If there's a lower demand, then yeah. And when you're looking in the past at things that have been more valuable in the past and are now less valuable, that's a really bad trend. Which, you know, you could look at Flesh and Blood. It's going to be decades for that thing to recover if it ever does. I think that, you know, these are the times that we're living in, and you got to pay attention. Otherwise, you're going to take it. Oh, look at that, though. Look at that, though. The Ikoria, forget about the draft. Okay, there you go. $113.
Holy shit, tits. If this is not Japanese, I might just buy it.
What? Why? Look at a longer time span. I've seen it down in the like.
Oh, dude, just because
$150
the fun of the sealed play environment of Mutate, oh, it's so gross. Like, to actually play.
I have a couple boxes of it on ice for just that purpose. You know, like if you were to come here, say in 10 years, and we go through and we look at all my boxes, you might say, Ikoria, grab that. That's what we're going to draft. Right. I'm down with that. That's why I have my sealed. But go look the collector boxes, which you were so high on, right? I don't remember what you bought your packs for, $18 a piece, $20 a piece, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Go look. I think I just saw it like 210 or something. 219. No, you just pass it. It's first row.
So I was doing the blister packs because they were super cheap. And now you can see an inverse of that, where the collector box is cheaper than the blisters.
So again, and understand how many of these have already been opened. This has been in the market. What? It's 3 years old.
Right.
Plus?
And the big
That's bad.
attractor to this product line is the Triumphs, which are already starting to be reprinted. So to go after this, there's nothing outside of the play experience. Same thing with like Rise of the Eldrazi, which for me, I never got to experience. But I look at those sealed boxes of like $400, $500, $600. And what do you get out of them? Nothing that hasn't been reprinted outside of the experience. And this is something reminiscent to that. But at least the market has responded correctly to how poor the EV is when you open up this product. So I could legitimately do a draft at $220 something with some friends.
Yeah. I don't know where it's going. I would say hold tight. It's bumpy weather ahead, both financially in the meta market, you know, outside of Magic, and I think Magic is doing terrible things. And as they're flailing and going down that drain, they're hitting everything that they can. They're banging every gong, pushing every button, turning every dial, which a lot of that is, hey, we can drain in short term the reprint equity and things that we've done over 30 years to try to push boxes. But again, they've already started running out of the reprint equity. I mean, even now they're putting Mana Crypt in a standard set. Like, why? Why the hell would you do that? That's something to push a Masters type product. That's the big guns.
Right. Yeah.
That is the big guns. Outside of that, you're talking reserve list.
Right.
That is the big gun. There is no bigger gun.
Yeah.
What's that?
It seems like an odd introduction here. That's usually something that's included in a large price point product.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to put it in this seems out of the norm. Like they're grasping at straws to get people to buy.
Desperate is what I'm saying. All this feels very desperate.
Yeah.
And I think that they're desperately trying to make their fourth quarter numbers here, right, at the expense of what's coming in the future. What can they possibly put? Let's say they print this and it goes down. Let's say they do this again in the next set. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mana Crypt getting reprinted again very soon.
Right. And I
expect it.
I personally feel the whole inclusion of these universes beyond are ways to get other people to buy their product when their regular line of purchasers are not purchasing the product. And I think that that's something we'll see going forward. I've heard a number of other content creators iterate this, is that Universes Beyond will become one of the most prevalent product line types we see. Hey, what up, Solar God?
I'm going to say you're correct in the short term, but just like every dopamine button they keep hitting, the more often you hit that, the less effective it becomes. And they're going to keep doing this and keep doing this until it doesn't do anything. And they pretty much are emptying out the bags of tricks, like reprinting everything. That's getting old really, really fast. People aren't excited. Even Blightsteel Colossus. People forget about that. You remember it was just reprinted? Because it was. And I bought a few of them.
So I had a question to you, Bob.
Okay.
Do you think that Post Malone would ever buy another Magic the Gathering card for $1 million?
No.
Right.
No. Just based off did you watch the interview with Joe Rogan?
Absolutely. Right before this.
Did he seem proud of that purchase? Or did he talk about it sheepishly like, it probably wasn't the best use of my money?
I'll be 100% honest. 100% honest. As someone who spent probably 1,000 hours watching JRE podcasts, right? I think Post Malone was ashamed to say what he had done with millions of dollars that he had. When Joe Rogan was opening comedy clubs, when he was transporting himself and his family all over the world for different experiences, and Posty bought himself a Magic card. I think it was difficult for him to even talk about it out loud. And I think going forward, this will be for 5 years. I'll bet you a sealed box. Bob, I'll bet you a sealed draft box that this is the most expensive Magic the Gathering card sold for 5 years.
I bet it will be the most expensive Magic the Gathering card sold ever.
And let us know down below. I would love so we got 6 people live. Let us know. Do you think this will be the most expensive Magic the Gathering card ever sold? Can you think of something more sought after than the One of One ring? If you're checking this out 2.5 hours,
not a chance, Coach.
Our live. Yeah,
not a chance.
Right. I can't think of anything.
I'll do it intentionally. I'm very deliberate about opening Magic. If I open any Magic, now it feels bad because there's no value. If it gets up to the point where it's even value, then there's no reason. And if it goes up in value, well, then I want to save it like a fine wine for a good occasion. So there's no chance that you'll ever just have me going, fuck it, get super wasted and rip into a bunch of Magic. It's just, sorry. But I did just send you an image there, Pat, if you saw that.
Oh, Bob, you naughty boy, you.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's immune, right? Isn't that the words that we heard? Can't go below 50.
Can't go below. Can't do it.
Didn't take long. I was only off by like what, $2 the first time around when I sent that one to you. I was close, but this just goes to show. So let me ask you this: on that very card, so I pasted a borderless, the full Monty version of a Cavern of Souls, right? $34.99. Now, how many more reprints can? Yeah, Prime just got a stiffy. Not that one. That's not the right version. That's a hype one. Get rid of that.
Look at all this different
You're a liar.
versions of printings. This is just gross. Like, look at this. I have to scroll to find the different version. Like, that's just how dumb this is. Oh,
So
it's immune to reprints. Get the fuck out of here. I wonder who smokes more weed sometimes.
and so my point with this is, just like with Mana Crypt, which both Mana Crypt and this are in Ixalan, like why? Why?
Ugh. And
Like it's a standard set. Dominaria United was a standard set. They put Lily in it, which is nowhere near Mana Crypt, right? And people think Dominaria United is a shit set. What did they put in freaking Innistrad sets? What was the Mana Crypt type card that they put in those? Baldur's Gate? Nothing. But they put it in Ixalan?
Some of the weird lands, but nothing good.
Okay. So do you see what I'm saying? If it doesn't feel desperate that they're putting, but like this to me clearly says we must sell Caverns of Ixalan. Those sales must go up. So they put a shot at Cavern of Souls and Mana Crypt. And I still saw Ixalan selling cheap on the shelves. Like it wasn't.
Sorry to interrupt, but to speak to Coach's comment here, I was talking with my brother. He was like, what am I going to do? Sell my fetch lands for $5? Scalding Tarn was $175. I assume he's from California. So, as Warren Buffett once put it, there's no right time to buy. There's no right time to sell. Do you want to have fetch lands, the real cards that you put in all of your decks? Do you want to own those? That's the conversation. So I pulled 2 Maleficents, right? These sexy, expensive cards from Lorcana. Yeah, I sold both of them for $34. You know why? Because they're going to be worthless. And that's the mind frame you need to have when you deal with
Dude,
Magic
did they
the
change
Gathering.
TCG player?
Yeah, like for 34. So when people interact with MTG, I think that anybody who plays the game, anybody who buys, sells, trades cards, needs to realize that they're fucking worthless. They are play pieces up until the point where Wizards of the Coast has printed them enough. They'll be collectible up until Wizards has printed them into the ground. And I think that's exactly where we're going.
No, they did change TCG player, the layout. Instead of having the filters on the left, they're now up top. When did that change? like the site itself.
Shit if I know. I just
So
work
that kind of mucked with me. I was trying to look and see what the price of the Cavern of Ixalans is, and did you see what I'm talking about? Like the draft box. Like this is right. The current set is. Am I right? I mean, I don't know if you would consider Doctor Who it, but Cavern of Ixalan is the newest set for like sets. I don't like standard set. Is that the best way to put that? And the draft boxes are going for 117. Like, look at your price chart on freaking.
Well,
Like, look at it on TCG Player and understand you can get Cavern of Souls and Mana Crypt in there.
So
and it's still not pushing it.
That's a question I wanted to pose to you. As an avid collector, do you think that this merging of draft and set boosters,
oh my god, it's a set booster that's 117. Oof, that's bad.
Do you think that this, and we talked about this a number of times, is the reduction of product lines, SKUs, right? Do you think that this is a good or bad move for Magic?
Oh my god,
I certainly have my opinion, but I'd love to hear, as a dolphin size purchaser of MTG products, do you
like
think that the thousands of dollars you spend a year, do you believe that this is a good or bad move?
Bad. I said it many times. Bad move. And you know, for the multiple reasons that I stated above. First of all, it only appeals. Why the fuck? Why is it not put the Lost Cavern? Like, dude, what's going on with TCG Player? It's pissing me off.
Well, so that's one of the problems Far North Magic is, even though Lost Caverns of Ixalan isn't released yet, you can just buy it. Which, to me, I this is a whole separate video.
Why? It says there are 30 packs in the, like, that's an interesting thing, but we should probably bring that up, right? Like, that's interesting. It has even more packs in it, and it's cheaper than most other set boosters already.
Right. Yeah,
and it's got a shot at Mana Crypt and the Cavern of Souls. Why? Why is it so cheap?
I think between now and the murders of Karlov Manor, we are going to see an incorrect pricing on a large amount of products. Is that there will be an almost unannounced
right.
fire
They're not
sale.
30 set boosters in it. Are there really 30 in there?
And as far as
haven't they been 24 for quite a while?
Far North here saying Lost Caverns isn't released yet. Amazon, for some reason, is able to sell products ahead of other internet sellers' pricings. So you can't get onto Card Kingdom 30 days ahead of time and pre-order a product. For some reason on Amazon, you can get in months and months early.
All right. Well, this is not Amazon. This is TCG Player, right? Look at that awesome chart, folks. Normal set booster price around that 135, 140. This is pre-sale. They're not even out yet. When is it coming out?
Scroll up.
And it says 30 boosters. Is that correct? Aren't there normally? Oh, funny. That's in direct competition with the Lorcana set 2 releases on the 17th. Funny. Interesting. I don't expect this to go up. I honestly, what we've seen is normally it's like a
Our North
the other way
has some math for us. If the special guest is a similar drop rate to the play boosters, the drop rate would be about 1 in 640 packs for a Mana Crypt.
Okay. Guess what? The serial cards in Lord of the Rings are similar bad numbers, and people bought a lot of those thinking that they're going to get a serialized card out of that Joker, And if you didn't hit it, like ask Dual Brain, it's pretty brutal when you open it and you don't hit a serialized. Like it's bad. It's bad. Very bad.
Yeah, that's tough. For
Those are
Mac
$400 boxes, right?
Yeah.
So
I
this one,
wonder going forward if this is something that for mass box openers, if this is a positive or a negative for people like Rudy, for like Louis, who are doing, cases, tens of cases. Is this a positive or a negative? I think for me personally, just as far as my interaction with sealed Magic the Gathering, this is a big positive. When I get to hang out with my buddies and we have a bit more powerful draft experience, I think this is
this
a
ain't draft. This is set.
no, as far as play boosters go.
Yeah. I disagree. And I think overall, down the road, it's going to feel bad. But we'll see. I mean,
Right.
I could be wrong. I'm not, it's not Bob's world and you're all just living in it. It's that's just my impression and what I see, like extrapolating it down the road. The things that make it special, that make it feel more powerful, is when you hit that rare thing. When you're hitting it all the time, it's like the Chads that get to hit the pretty girl. They get it. You hitting that pretty girl would be like a lifetime experience. Them hitting one is just number 2 on Friday night, right? And it's not that special to them. And as soon as you start opening these and you start getting that big hit, you can be like, meh. And then you go back to other things and they'll feel even worse. Right? So it'll become
hashtag call you of the vast. Yeah, no, just a whole separate thing. Bob, I got your back there.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
that it's special when everybody else has it too. Call you of the vast.
It's Cavern of Souls. It's
right. And I think that going forward, like we had said a little bit behind the scenes, is that this is an easy way to introduce a quicker line to power creep. And I think going forward, absolutely, that rares will be the new play pieces. That's going to be where most people build their decks around. It'll be rares and mythics. Maybe you include some uncommons, but most uncommons will go by the wayside. As we go forward, it's already been announced that there will be more uncommons than commons in sets. I think that for your draft and your builders experiences, commons will be less, motherfucking common. As far as uncommons, rares, and mythics, that's how you're going to play the game. So I think, Bob, you've made some great points about how the draft and sealed experiences in general are certainly going to change in a very dynamic way. And it's hard to tell. I think it's going to be another 6 to 12 months before we have any real statistics or experiences on
I think it'll be longer than that. I think it's longer than that. And we're now
any of it. Are you gonna like check out at your LGS any of these play boosters in a live scenario?
Nope. There's enough people that'll do it online. I'll just watch and try to get a general feel and sample from what's online. Thank God for YouTube. We get to watch other people waste their money, so we don't have to.
So,
and that's what I do at this point.
You
right?
make a great point on that. So, one of my odd thoughts, and I haven't heard anybody cover this, is what impact will this have on Arena with the elimination of regular draft boosters going up a level to play boosters? Will there be some microtransaction increase in purchasing price?
No. And they've already got a multitude of packs that you don't have available in physical packs already. Like, I don't believe that Arena is doing well, and I think it's going to do even less well in the future. I do feel that, like the hype, and as I think it's going to be hypersensitive, to be honest, a hot take here. I think Arena is going to be hypersensitive to like the exodus of players. I think as it becomes less and less views on, and they were talking about that. Somebody was pointing out the lack of views on oh damn it, what's that platform? The one where you stream, Twitch, right? That the viewership for Magic has just gone right down the pooper.
That's interesting. I've heard search engine optimization over Commander versus Arena play. Arena is prevailing over Commander streams. So
Sure,
more
but
people are.
Magic overall was like just dropping off a
Oh
cliff.
yeah, I think, and that's a great point, Bob. Honestly, is that people playing or watching Magic the Gathering across the board has dipped down. I know for me, it's been a couple of weeks since I played Commander Raids or Magic in general. It's hard to put that above other video games that I have. I mean, it's a tough area right now.
I really do need to get going here, but I'll leave you with this thought, Pat, and I don't know if you want to continue talking to our audience here. Thank you, everybody, first of all, for coming here tonight and participating. We desperately love having these conversations with you guys, and that's what they are, cardboard conversations. Here's my take on like what Magic is doing. All the moves I see Magic doing, I think, are doing irreparable harm to the game, right? So the mistakes that WotC's making, how do you fix it in the future, right? How do you unprint all the reprint equity that you've already drained? How do you unintroduce Universes Beyond when it's turned people out? How do you unglut the market with overprinting of products? Like those are irreparable things that you cannot do. How do you gain the trust back when you've broken it with somebody? And they've broken the trust with so many of the big dollar whales and dolphins. Now, Lorcana, have they made mistakes? Yes. Let me ask you this. Can you fix the safety seal wrapper on the boxes, Pat? Could they fix that?
Easy peasy.
Could they fix the amount of product that they can release? Can they introduce more into the market?
Less easy, but equally yes.
Right? How do you unprint all the reprints that Magic's done?
That's a hard no.
How do you remove the Universes Beyond that's pushed people out of the game because of the lore?
No, unfortunately, Rick, the steadfast leader, is a commander.
Okay. How do you regain the trust of people that you've broken with M30, with the massive amount of reprints, with the Amazon drops that have made stores go out of business? How do they reestablish trust that people feel confident in buying Magic products as a financial investment? Because it is, whether you go for the financial value on the end of it.
I mean, stores would have to have a multitude of years of diligence from the provider that they buy from. I would expect
But would that make you bank on it that they wouldn't do it again if they got in trouble?
No.
Once you break trust, that's something you have a very difficult time, if not impossible, to regain. Once you break trust, we've talked about it before, like a friend who stole your wallet once, and the next time you misplace it, you're like, no matter if you forgive him or he doesn't do anything for years and years, could be 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
The first time that wallet goes missing, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Magic. They've broken that. I think it's clear. Like, I even have to acquiesce to that. All the people saying they broke it. They said they broke it with M30. I don't necessarily see it that way. It's just the way you interpreted it. But at the end of the day, it did break trust and faith with many of the buyers out there, right? They've done it with Amazon drops. They've done it with reprinting things and making people's collections or cubes less valuable. They've done it in a multitude of ways. Straight up lying, that they won't do a thing and then turn around and just do that very thing. That they 30-year partner or however long the partnership's been with the DCI judges, and like, just F off now. The pro tours, they're just like, oh well, there's not that anymore. There's so many ways that they've done bad, shady things that, in my opinion, are going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to fix. Lorcana, they could fuck things up. They very well could, but they
They've
haven't
got
done
all the
anything.
room for it. Right.
They
And
haven't done anything yet that is
right. And that's my biggest
become
worry
irreparable.
is, you know, in retrospect, we look at what Wizards of the Coast and so many other TCGs have done wrong. And I think that Lorcana has all the room to do things correctly. And I worry that they will repeat so many of the other mistakes that we've seen other trading card games do. And if they keep in that manner, absolute detrimental. But from that, I mean, we've seen so many huge strides as far as their artwork, how solidified their style is, the gameplay, how streamlined and mechanically simple in the first set we get, and the complications mechanically in our second set going forward. So there's a lot for deck builders there.
I'll be honest with you. One of the things I think they could make a huge mistake on, and first misstep I predict that will happen, and I'll be very sad when it does. Disney's known for going woke. I hope that stays out of the game. It has no place. They haven't done it. I'm not saying it, so don't take a hot take. Bob says Disney's, Lorcana's woke. It's not, but it, definitely can be like in your face magic, whatever that release was with the guys in the hot tub thing, and so many other things that they've done that are just fucking woke and don't have a place in TCG as far as I'm concerned. Turn some people off. But again, that's a area that Magic's done. How do you undo that now? How do you unchange Aragorn back to as he's described in the actual novel? You can't take them out of the Magic sphere anymore. They're there. You can try looking at you, Crusade and Stone Throwing Devils and all those others that they try to get out of the Magic fucking canon, but they're still there. People have those cards. I hope Lorcana doesn't fall into that trap. I don't think they need to. The demand is super high through the roof and don't need to play tricks. Just keep it where it belongs in the game space. Just make it more available. Put the shrink wrap around the damn boxes. And I think they'll do just fine.
Right? Just do the simple, bare things that we expect from any regular trading card game. It's not much to ask, and outside of making more boxes and shrink wrapping them, I cannot ask much more from Lorcana as far as reprint waves or product lines going for further. Rise of the Floodborn or whatever they're doing for their third series. I just want more of it and for it to be a sealed product.
Yeah, me too. At any rate, hopefully we'll see some soon. No word yet from my distributors and stores and sources. I even tried signing up for a league. So keep your ear to the ground. Let us know if you find something. Thank you, Coach, for letting Pat know. And let me know. Don't erase the car in the hat with your woke crap. I don't know what that means. You mean cat in the hat? I was like, wait, I don't get it. Because I have a hat in my car. But at any rate, that's, keep tuning in, folks. We'll keep tossing hot takes out at you, and we don't always agree, as you saw tonight. That I'm not trying to convince Pat that he's not going to enjoy the Fallout, and if you enjoy any part of Magic, you should participate with that, and any other game, even at whatever price point. Just go in with open eyes, right? Don't let somebody push you into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody enjoys the product differently. So, as Blake Rasmussen once put it, buy what you want to buy, enjoy the products that you enjoy. So, I skipped out a lot over this past year, and I'm looking forward to the new Fallout items that come out. If you are, go ahead, put it in the comment section down below. Otherwise, We've been Cardboard Odysseys. This has been an episode of Cardboard Conversations, and we are looking forward to the next time we get to talk with you all out there. So until then, take care.
Thanks,
And
everybody.
then we like dance a little bit
No, we don't.
as
You
we
keep
like
saying that.
try
We
and end the
never
stream and
dance. I
shit.
never dance.